Today we're chatting about what rules we want in and what rules we want out for the old world. Let's chat Warhammer. Welcome to the Old World Fanatics, your Warhammer fantasy podcast to quench your hobby thirst for all things the old world. And I'm back again. I'm Gomo, and I'm joined by Andrew and Josh. As usual, how are you guys?
Gomo. Josh, how you going?
Good, mate. How you? Good. How you guys?
You guys loving your Monday night? You had a good weekend?
Yeah, it's been quite warm lately. I've been getting pretty smashed. Yeah, smashed by the sun, unfortunately.
You're a bit of a fisherman, aren't you? That's what you did the other day when you said, I'm going fishing on Wednesday.
Went fishing on Saturday. Don't ask me how it went. It's about as good as my Warhammer games. Don't usually come out that well.
It's been cold and grey and drizzly all weekend.
Surprising.
A lot of painting
done. It's like that. That's what happens to me. Like if it's I have a plan of what I want to do, but if it's a bit sunny, and then if I do start something outside, I go, I just need to get it done, and then I don't come back into the house. So it just never happens. Yeah. So it's good. I like the hot weather. Like my house is built for it, but it's always good to also get those rainy days where you can just go, I don't have to feel bad about sitting and painting.
You got
all day.
so many options. You got the pool and the spa, don't you? So
we've comboed that now, which we did the other day. It was like we were in till about 6, and then we went, it's getting a bit chilly. Let's go over to the other side. But man, it's fun, but it's also constantly testing water, and like all these little things. Like it's just like, how sensitive are these things? If they don't do it right, they scare you with all their warranty things. It's like, if you don't do this, it's going to break. So, God. Anyway, let's get on to it. We've got a pretty big episode, although we haven't got anything. It's just us again, which is cool. I like it. Not that I don't like having people on. I'm just saying it's fun to just chat old worldy stuff as well. And
absolutely.
Yeah, be cool. So we've got lined up some news stuff that I thought was cool to go through, and some rumory stuff. I don't know how accurate they are, but it's probably fun to just touch on. And then our main topic today is going to be like, I guess, rules we like, rules we don't. Whether or not it's 8th, 7th, 6th, something else, Kings of War. I don't know. We just thought let's have a bit of a. I think what I said to you guys wasn't it? It was like let's pick 5 things each, but I think I went overboard and. I didn't really count it, but I think it'll be right. We'll
just keep going.
Yeah, it's right. We'll keep going until we get bored or we have to hang up. And we've got 3 listener questions. So 1 last week, 3 this week. I expect if it's Fibonacci, we'll get 4 next week. If not, we'll see what the pattern is next week. So yeah, cool. No, thanks for that. We'll get to that at the end, and then then we'll wrap it up. So. Oh, and in there we'll do hobby, I guess, after news probably. So. I can kick off the news. I thought this morning when I woke up and I checked my email, I saw the what's it called? The pre-orders going up for Cities of Sigmar. So I thought it might be cool to just run through that if you guys haven't, and just have a quick look around some of the stuff again. And is there anything that piques you guys' interest?
A lot of the stuff's kind of already seen.
You might look at,
but I do.
But is there anything you would get? I know you've seen it all, but is there anything you would actually get out of this? Yeah, that's what I want to talk, because there's nothing new. We've obviously seen this, so I don't need to go, So there's just for the people who are listening at home, there's obviously the rule books and stuff, which we won't go through. So this big lioness on the Manticore, I mean, it's an awesome looking figure, but would that be anything? Do you guys ever buy anything like that you just want to paint, or you wouldn't do that?
No, I don't have time to be painting stuff
that you're not going to use. Well, what about that other thing? I asked you about this when it came out, but this matriarch of the Great Wheel. There's no way that can be like some weird ass reliquary thing.
Wait,
something.
Oh, that thing.
The Pontifex Zenestra.
I think it's just going to be too large. Like, it's not the right scale. Like, it's just going to be
just too big.
But will it not be the right scale?
In another 18 months, what scale?
Talk about this too much. Yeah, we'll see.
Touché. Yeah. No, I have no need to paint a relic. I have one sitting in a box if I want to get it out and paint it one day. But
right, yeah. It's just they didn't announce like that's the reliquary coming back yet. They didn't. It's obviously not that first wave of Bretts, and then I'm starting to wonder. I don't know. I don't know. When I saw it, I thought that looks interesting. The Free Guild Marshal. See, obviously, I've got my Empire, so some of these they do tickle my fancy. But yes, you're right. The scale creep is a bit worrying. I do like the Free Guild. It'd be interesting to paint that. The ones I was thinking about getting, although not after I posted that picture on YouTube, Messenger to you guys the other day, was the Free Guild Marshal and Relic Envoy, because I don't actually have you know how I used my Witch Hunter the other day for my Electric count? I don't sort of have like a single on foot sort of, leader. So I was thinking about getting that guy, the Free Guild Marshal, but then I found that picture that someone posted of sitting next to a city's, an old Empire guy, and I was like, oh God, he's way too big. So I don't know. I don't even know if there's any way you can adjust him. I don't know.
It's crazy to think that Age of Sigmar started off, at a scale not much bigger than fantasy, but looking at that photo, it's just it's.
I have to post it up on the show notes because it's just so big. But then I've also seen pictures of of the actual what are they called? The Free Guild Steel Humps, like the Foot Troop guys, and they didn't look that out of place. So it's just really weird. I don't know. Probably have to see him in person. So the only other one I would think I'd probably look at, I want to get that Alchemite Warforger. Because I reckon he looks pretty cool for a gold wizard or something like, or an alchemist type dude. But again, how big will he be? Yeah.
No, it does look pretty cool.
I guess. I mean, he is cool. Is he Empire-y?
I don't know. He looks pretty. You could probably use him as some weird ass engineer as well. Back there, like he's prodding around with something. Yeah, he just looks cool. And I love how they did his leather jacket.
Little
thing.
apron-y.
Looks real. Whatever it is.
That texture, that's part of the model, isn't it?
That's what I'm hoping, because I'm not going to be able to do that.
I think it's texture on the model.
Yeah. I don't know. So awesome. that was interesting, and then I don't know. I might look at. The only problem is, like that one figure is going to cost like I don't know, $50 or $60 Australian. I reckon. These single figures are so pricey.
Better get used to it.
Yeah,
to the old world.
Very true.
Oh God.
Yeah.
What are we doing to ourselves?
And if I didn't know, we'll get into rumours in a minute. But if I didn't know that they'll eventually bringing Empire out, and I don't know what they're redoing, I would consider playing around with the Free Guild Cavaliers. I have seen someone try and put them on 25s and by 50. But
did they fit?
They were pretty tight. But then if someone said a 30 by 60, they actually might not be too bad, especially if you start cutting some of the stuff. I mean, they've got a lot of stuff hanging off them. Not that I know if that will stop their width or not, but it's just they're interesting. But I don't know. There's a few things here I'd probably consider. And then the other one that I thought would be cool was just for fun is that Grimhold Exile, that Slayer dude. I don't mind a Slayer jumping off a rock.
Yeah, well, he's very old world-esque.
Yeah, just got hammers instead of axes, I guess. Yeah. Or is it?
Plenty of dwarves kicking around hammers. I mean, you've got the hammers.
Yeah.
Classic.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I can't believe, is this all pre-order? Because this is a lot to pre-order, and that dragon is up for pre-order. That's crazy, and they just announced it. So that's pretty cool. Some of these things you got to wait months for, and other times they just turn around in a week. It's ready to go.
Yeah, I know. It's just
Yeah, but is that a good thing, or is that just a sign of the chaos going on?
Who knows? It's like everything's been delayed, and now they're trying to shove it all out before Christmas or something. Yeah. Well, the more stuff they get out, the closer Old World is, I guess. So.
True.
Yeah, cool. No, well, there might be something. There might be a few things in here that I might get before Old World, but we'll never know. So. Cool. Okay, well, do you want to go through some rumours? So did you guys see these, or did you only see when I posted them?
Only when you post them, Colin. I'm not plugged in.
You're not plugged into the Metro Introverse.
I've heard
thing?
quite a few of these before, but
intranet.
not these exact ones. So, yeah, the same rumors, but from different sources.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, let's go through it. So there's two primary sources here. One I sort of trust and one I've heard mixed things about. So the first, and they sort of obviously join that they overlap huge. But if no one's seen them, they basically, I think all these came via Reddit, which is probably one of the main places to grab the original rumors from, and then they get posted everywhere else in Discords and obviously on socials and stuff. So I don't know, did you guys remember this Hastings guy from the old days, or again, you weren't really into listening to rumors?
Not really. No.
Oh, okay. So he always posted rumors and he was always pretty accurate, but he disappeared just like everything else did in 8th. And then I think this is some of the first stuff he's posted back. He just appeared back. And once that big announcement came with when it's coming, then it sounds like, so I don't know, whoever this guy is, he's obviously, I think he's plugged in and he knows. But that's my take on it anyway. So let me just, I don't know do I want to read it all out or just want to skim it?
I'd say skim.
Okay. So, yeah, he's basically saying that, there's going to be 2 new plastic kits for Toon Kings, 1 Hero, Lord on a Chariot, and Sand Mummies, which I think we've heard a couple of times. Again, none of that surprises me given what we've seen with the Bretts. Would you guys agree?
Mummies is cool, but like you actually got a larger unit.
Yeah.
I thought they'd have they'd have more for the Toon Kings, given how much, there's quite a few units for the Bretonnians. I thought they'd at least sort of balance it out a little bit. So if they only have 2 new kits for the Toon Kings, that's a little bit disappointing.
I guess true, but this is 2 plastic kits, and how many plastic kits did Bretts get?
True. I didn't
just 2.
Pick up on the plastic. Yeah, most of it's going to be resin.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if we're missing a bit of that stuff. So I'm wondering if you're going to see, a habit of saying, well, we're going to eventually do what we did with AOS and, get rid of the old kits, but we're going to do it by bringing out over time a new set of plastics that you want to buy. And like I said, and add a bit of scale creep, like you're saying, and, mummies can be a bit bigger. So, I like that. And I actually, if this is true, I like it because I know a lot of people are harping on about the skeletons, but I just don't think, I can't see Games Workshop going, we're going to release a new version of a game and just redo the core troops and plastic, you know what I mean? Like, and expect people to get all excited about re-releasing core troops. And I know some people have, real gripes about the old skeleton kit, but I don't know. I just, just use them and who cares? They're skeletons. Let's get some other cool stuff on the board type thing. I don't know. So I like having another option other than Tomb Guard that's a bit punchy, hopefully. But who knows? And then that, I guess we don't know if that also means there's a few characters. I think the Tomb King range is pretty good, and obviously got pretty much redone in 8th, didn't it? Really, like all the big Gribblies are all 8th. The Snake Riders and and they're all dual kits.
So it's the only the old school skeletons, like the guys with the spears and the archers.
So the gripe with this kit, which I didn't really know too much about because I only just got that battalion box off, Todd the other day. So I've only ever had like people's, they've already built them, and I've just used what they've got. So basically what the kit is it's the same scale as the VC kit. And then they have an extra sprue of like 4 bows. I think I'm going to get this wrong, but it's like 4 bows, 2 swords, 2 of those Egyptian weapons, the Egyptian 4 shields, and I don't know, some number of Egyptian heads. So the gripe though is if you buy a box of skeletons and just want to make, say, hand weapon shield guys, you have to, if you don't buy multiple boxes and also make archers, you run out of the Kopesh weapons. So you end up having to use like an axe or a spear, which is an Egyptian type thing. So that's the biggest gripe.
And they're quite old models. Like those skeletons are quite.
They've got the big, what do they call them? The jazz hand skeletons. But
Yeah. I'll tell you, my first thought when I hear that, I'm like, if I was in a situation, I'll be immediately trying to find a design I could print and just use that as a substitute rather than buying piles of boxes so I can get enough of the right weapon.
But I mean, my thing is that, like, I don't know, but I mean, I've got a lot of spares. So, like, I guess if you're making archers as well, then you end up with spares, but maybe that's not right. Like from one box, because I haven't actually done it with one box, so I don't know.
That'd be cool if the sand mummies actually come out as like a multi-unit, so like not like a zombie slow, but comes out with like, you know, possibly like some sort of archery or spears. Almost like your skeletons, but like so it's
someone said that maybe they could do it in a way that you could start using those bodies and stuff, but I don't know. You know, they'll be scale creep, so who knows? Anyway, that's a lot. Probably that's one sentence so far. Sorry. There's the not starter box Tomb King versus Brett's will drop last week of Jan, first week of Feb, which we all thought 185 Great Britain pounds. No idea what that's going to be like.
Some
$400, $300 and something Australian, which whatever, I'm going to buy it. The only thing there is that he is saying that it looks like it is a versus kit, so box. So I don't know if that's true or not.
About that. Yeah, it's the one thing they've been clear about.
Yeah,
It's not going to be that.
So just plastic, no resins. Well, I think that have they ever put resins in a
I've never
box
seen it
before? No, so that makes sense.
No.
Quality of life stuff, templates. Yeah. In the late summer, another box of orcs. So this is where we get into. Okay, so that sounds like it's going to be 5 months, and then suddenly
July,
a release
August
with
or
Orcs
something,
and Empire. Yeah, which again, one new plastic kit. Empire get 3 plastic kit. I mean, yeah. So whatever, between 2 and 3 plastic kits for each one, but by then you're getting, you got 4 of the factions mainly out with narrative books that come alongside. I mean, it makes sense to me, and I'd be happy with something like that. Obviously, providing in January everyone gets all the rules, which I can't see them not doing in terms of the PDFs.
At least,
like that's just
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't see. Otherwise, how are you going to play it? Like, you're literally going to have Tomb Kings and Bretonians. Otherwise, you're stuffed.
Yeah. So that's all. They're going to dump the rules. They'll probably bleed them out over a week, like they did with sort of the index cards in 40k and stuff like that. I don't know. I probably don't have much to comment on in terms of, like, how you said here, the orcs get a new plastic kit, possibly a board chariot. I mean, who knows? And really, a board chariot? Really? I think it'll be more maybe something big, like a board chariot, but something big. You know what I mean? Like that bloody Auric thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, some bigger thing. And then, I was hearing a lot of negative stuff about the very, very high proposed cost of re-released plastic boxes. I'm sorry, I don't want to read it just verbatim, but I don't know. Is there anything in there that he said? This is more about him just talking about when he sort of came back and Wyatt died and stuff, is it? Want to love this project, but he's actually ripping into it. I want to love this project, but the half-assed nature of it, the absolute age it's taken a show, 7 new minutes. I don't know. It's a bit critical. I mean, it's the SDS studio. It's not like they got 50 people working on it.
I mean, it's
I don't know.
Like everyone's spoken about. It's kind of if people are investing in, supporting it, then that's gonna, I mean, it's a company, it's GW, of course they're gonna be like, it's for me, it's just they're putting a bit of a feeler out, like we've all said before, and this is a way of doing it without, they're trying to be smart about it.
They killed the game. They discontinue. How many people do this? I mean, I'm amazed they're even doing it. So, like, to me, I'm like, good on it. Do it in a way that we both win. We win because we get a game back. They win because they don't over. I think people, the more I've read, we'll get into this in a minute, but the more I've read, like that book that I've been reading, the Talking Miniatures book about the background of Games Workshop, the more you start getting a feel for what it actually costs and stuff to build these things. And I think most people, I mean, I see myself as a businessy guy, but I know nothing about that stuff. And I think a lot of people who whinge know even less about, they expect them just to do all this, throw all these resources at it. It's just not realistic. So, Anyway, well, obviously I've got a glass half full look at it, so hopefully it'll be good. I do love the last statement here. He said, "I've heard that the Tomb King chariot is beautiful, and having seen the new Brett stuff, I don't doubt that." So that's cool. I'd love it. It'd be cool if it was, I don't know, a really cool chariot that maybe doubles as being Cetra.
It looks like they're sort of
so.
going that way by the models because they're all seem to be multi-utility.
Well, what about the Brett one's triple kit, like the Pegasus. So great way to make you buy the figure 3 times. This is like, it's just, I know you could, I think it's awesome marketing. So so I don't know. It sounds like I'm gonna have no money left, am I? Because I've got I don't have Bretts, but this is going to make me get Bretonians, and I've got Tomb King's Empire and Orcs. So
you're turning into me, Colin. You're turning into me. Just got boxes and boxes of.
I'll be like, release High Elves already because I don't collect them. I need to get some work done. Yeah. But anyway, that's that one, and then this other guy, which I'm not sure who it is and how much new stuff he's added, but he's talked about the Cambrian chariot coming out, a Tomb King or a Leech Lord, so it can have a Tomb King or a Leech Lord on this chariot, and then the Empire get new Knights, Militia, and a Grey Cannon. I guess the thing is it's matching the Hastings said 3 plastic kits, and then this guy's saying new Knights, Militia, and Grey Cannon. I don't know about the Grey Cannon. I'm like, really? Like,
nah.
Is anything wrong with the
cannon?
cannon?
That'd be disappointing. Unless it was like a multi-kit, like the Hellblaster cannon sort of thing.
Like something where you could make 3 different war machines
like
out of the one or something.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I just don't think there's anything wrong with the Hellblaster sculpt. And even, yes, the cannon's older, but it's a cannon. I don't know.
Yeah. And it's like, it'd be interesting that we're re-releasing like new plastic versions of pre-existing kits. Like they haven't done that with Bretonia.
You're right. Like maybe this is inaccurate, in that sense that it's slightly not really what we're saying here, I don't know. Some other type of war. Because I sort of alluded to this with some of the questions last week maybe whenever it was. Will they slowly introduce things that add their IP into it a little bit, you know what I mean? And don't make it generic. So just normal, generic Knights, but slightly something different, and just keep doing that every release. And then eventually they've got a little bit more protection, but who knows? Because if you look at that cannon that they brought out for Cities of Sigmar, it's
very unique.
It's a cannon, but it's covered in a heap of bloody other stuff. So, not that we want to see that, but I don't know. And then the greenskins, Ben, can never have too many war boss and shamans on wyverns. I just hope we'll get into this with our rules stuff. I hope these things are playable. But he said he can't say much more about the Orcs and Goblin unit. So it looks like, Empire, those 3 kits, he's sort of confirming that, but then greenskins, he didn't say anything about a boar charities. A charity's talking about a war boss on a wyvern. So I've got no doubt they're going to bring out a character monster thing for each one.
Yeah, it's a draw card, isn't it? Like, you want some cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, centerpiece. Yeah.
Yeah. And you put that one in the starter box thing, the release box that has mostly old kits, but the only way to get it for 3 months is to buy the kit. Good on them. I don't. Why has he got the Bretonian rule and comes with an option to build the cat? That must have been an old rumor. Is there anything new? No, there's not really. There'll be also a narrative book together with the Empire versus Greenskins later in the year, following a Khemri invasion of the old world by Cetra. That's the idea. If that's right, I like that because that gives me credence that they might bring out a cool Cetra figure. One that you could, turn into a Leech Priest or something on the chariot as well. I like it.
That's sort of going along with
new,
possibly what they're doing in Age of Sigmar and 40k is basically they have these sort of
seasons or whatever they call them, or like the Dawnbringer Crusades or whatever it is at the moment.
Like the story, telling a story, and the rules reflect that. So it gives it a bit of spice. As long as they don't go too overboard with the seasons, and just bring them out at a
Yeah.
decent pace. It's always good having new objectives and
Because that's what I don't get. Like, I mean, again, I don't follow AOS, but I did follow it to the point where they said the General's Handbook's gone from 6
yeah.
months to 12-month release. But then these Dawnbringer books have been coming out, I don't know, seems like every quarter. So I don't know, like, how does that, does that throw up the meta? I'd assume it would, because they always would come with some new stuff. But the General's Handbook, maybe that's more point changes and stuff, is it? The
Nah,
General's
well, it's
Handbook?
got
I've
the
never opened it up,
objectives and
so I don't
stuff
know.
like that as well, and the scenarios.
Okay. Right.
And they're quite heavily based about the meta, I suppose, with those, because the objectives are heavily where you get your points from in a game, compared to the old victory points just for killing each other.
So, yeah.
But yeah,
okay.
but so it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Like if they're bringing back the old world, they don't want to go too extreme. Turn it into Age of Sigmar and 40k. But it would be nice to have a bit of a hybrid, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, that's what we'll talk about, hey, definitely in this rules stuff. I think there's a few comments I've seen about something like that too. So, worth talking about. Okay, well, before we get on to that main topic then, unless you've got other rumours you've heard, do you want to chat about what we've been up to in the last week or so?
Yeah. I guess I can go first this week.
Go for it.
Probably similar stuff to what I've been doing recently, I guess. Still working on my heels. Got them covered, got the dirt layer done, painted up the rocks that I've got going on there. Probably tomorrow I'll crack on with getting the grass on it and flocking it and, probably finalising it. And yeah, just painting up the colourless Slannesh slow grow. I've realised it's only a few weeks away now before the first one.
Yeah, because what is it? It's mid-November or something?
It's the 12th of November. So it's only 3 weeks as of yesterday. It's 3 weeks away. So I'm kind of like, oh, okay.
So if I decide to get my wood elves done, then I have to start too. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But
yeah. If you decide to get them done, you've only got 2 weeks and 6 days. God. And the other thing that I was working on this week was putting together a pack for a little bit of a doubles event at the end of CanCon on the Sunday, which is something I have never done a doubles thing or even played in one.
Yeah.
But the concept of it just sounds a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's doubles. So without going too far into that, because I don't know if we want to do a CanCon episode specifically, but is it doubles as in like you're both playing on it's not like a team event where you're all playing separate. This is literally just two of you playing on the same table against two other people?
Yeah, on the same table. Yeah.
Yeah, love it.
Each 1,000
cool.
points. So you get to discuss what you want to do. You want to, try to work out a plan and if you stuff up, you can both have a laugh kind of thing.
Yeah.
I kept it pretty small because I don't want to have to do too much work in TO.
Yeah, and you want to play.
And I want to play. It's like a little reward for me running the singles is to get to play a bit of fun doubles at the final day. So so I put it back together and it's got put up just a few days ago. That's
and I think I heard Paddy was saying that it's annoying, like you have to pay for each event, hey? So if you're paying for singles, you've got to obviously pay for the double.
It's a discount though. So
is it? Okay.
Yeah. So I think Paddy was trying to work out what to do because she's a TO. She has to have a ticket for the first event.
Is that what she was saying? Yeah.
Because if you just go to the one day, it's like $45, $46. If you're using it as an add-on when you've been to another event, which is really the main way people mostly going to do it, because you'd either be doing it, because you've played something else and you want to play a bit of 6th edition, or you want to just play a whole load of 6th edition for 3 days. It's only $11.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, okay, cool.
So it's actually a minimal cost to add on that extra.
If I stay that long, I'll definitely play in it. It just depends on, I don't know. It's just
It's a long weekend.
I don't think I've ever done that long actually for this sort of type of thing. Like war gaming, like go away for 4 nights, whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
Which,
pretty massive.
to be honest, I can do it. It's not a problem. Like no one back here in my house is going, hey, you have to come. You got to get back and help the kids. Like my kids are older now. It doesn't matter. It's more just, geez, do I want to do it for that long? I don't know. Maybe I do. we'll see.
Yeah. It also depends on when you're coming home as well. Like really, the way I was going to come home, I probably was going to drive home on the Sunday anyway, but just leave Sunday morning. Whereas doing this, I'll probably leave in the afternoon and get home, pretty late. Pretty late, like 11 o'clock or something. But I've got a much longer drive than you.
What time do you reckon it will wrap up? Did you say? Because you did. I think I skimmed it.
Probably 3:15, 3:30.
Okay. That's the thing. So it's still, I'd be back home by 9, probably.
Yeah, it is
maybe.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. But it's doable. I don't know. We'll see.
Worth considering.
I have to work it out because you don't have that many places, do you? It'll fill up, maybe.
I've only got 15 places, so I might add an extra table if it does sell out quickly. I might go 5 tables, so 20 places in total. But I really don't want any more than that if it does happen to sell out quickly, because it's just
I like that rule. You had a rule something about asking rules questions. Explain that. That was a good one. I like that.
What I put in was, if you have a rules question and the 4 of you can't work it out, and you have to come over to me to get a clarification, I'm going to tell you to go away and roll a dice and just leave me alone.
I love it. Yeah. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah. It's just going to be a casual thing. It's just not going to be that competitive. It's just people can, it's just going to be a couple of games at the end of the weekend and just having fun.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. That's all, that's all I want.
Yeah. Can you drink at CanCon? I've never.
I wouldn't think so. No.
So I can't remember much alcohol being around. No, I don't think there is. No,
okay.
Not on the premises anyway.
Damn.
It's
Maybe
not
that's
like,
a good
it's not like Castle,
3 days.
That's what makes Castle Assault so special.
Yeah.
There's just so much alcohol around.
Fair enough. Oh, cool. Oh, that sounds good, man. Yeah. So you'll finish these. Your slow grow will be on time. It's just it's getting close. Get you're on target.
Done. I'm considering actually taking the slow grow army to Castle. I mean to CanCon. For running, because it'll be hitting about 800 points. A couple of weeks beforehand. So if I can get the 1,000 points done, then it might work out nicely. Yeah,
that's good. Good point.
Cool.
Don't know what's going to happen with the slow growers at the old world approaches, by the way. Like, I'm starting to think, I'm like, this is going to complicate things. I just have to wait and see what happens.
Pivot. See who's still doing it, and if not, pivot.
Either pivot into the old world, or people that keep wanting to play 6 they can, or have both. I don't think it'll be I think just the slow grow itself, I'm sure we'll just be able to keep going. The only concern I have is that some people have taken like specific supplement armies, like the Red Host of Tenuan, which is like a lizardman army with skinks that are like in blocks and that kind of thing, which I'm not sure will translate that well. I think there's an Ulrich army as well. There's a few very specific lists that you might struggle.
I wonder.
Pivot into, but
I mean, we won't know, but I wonder. And I don't know if there's appetite for this, but I wonder if you could just take some of those 6th edition specialty ones and then just release almost like an FAQ of like what it is in old world. Do you know what I mean? Like even you'd have to look at it and go, well, this would make sense, or this, but these points would have to change. But you might better do it.
Yeah. Or like the other thing I was thinking of was literally do like what we talk about when we're talking about 7th edition rule set with the 6th edition books, but just do the old world rule set with 6th edition books.
Exactly. Well, no, exactly. That's the thing. Like, do we really care? Like, they had 6th edition, books in 8th. I mean, obviously, no one, even GW, didn't care.
Yeah, true. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Fair point.
I mean, it's different if you're trying to take it to a tournament.
Yeah, just a little slow grow.
A slow grow thing. Who cares?
Slow grow thing, and like, there's a certain number of people already in the slow grow that are literally going to be basing their slow grow army in preparation for the old world anyway. So it's a very much a casual sort of approach.
Yeah. That sounds good. Cool. Okay. Fishing. What have you been doing, Andrew?
I have been putting my little bull centaurs, finished putting them on bases. So I got 20 of these guys. They don't all fit that well. They're not too bad. I've just got to probably number them just to help with basing. So they do fit. You just got to obviously have them prearranged. And then I've just been just cutting some hands off and arms. For I'm trying to find some good stuff for Lords. I've got plenty of stuff for banners and musicians, but just trying to convert Lords at the moment.
So none of that was in the design, was it? It's
Nah,
just
well,
all...
you could get other ones, like the other files. I just
okay.
thought I was just going to do some converting. But yeah, sometimes,
Right.
Well, I've got plenty of stuff to do it, but it's more, they look a bit more demony. I've got heaps of like corn, demon bits and pieces, and quite a bit of chaos. Yeah, no, I'll come up with a couple of heroes, like maybe a couple of heroes and a lord, because like Josh made 20, so I got plenty to play with. I can't see me running around 6th edition with 20 bull centaurs. Would be good, but
can you tell the quality of that? Like so where are these ones from? Like, is it just a different, like, who's the company or whatever? The STL?
Couldn't even
like,
tell you.
Yeah.
But they are good. They're actually really, really good and detailed.
So you can tell, yeah. Because I like my comment of my ones were like, I couldn't really tell how good they were until I sort of got the undercoat and the zenithal, and then I went, wow, actually, heaps better than I thought. Just because of that color of the resin. I just couldn't tell with yours either. Like, it'd be nice to see what they look like when they're,
Yeah, it was Yed Haro models on My Mini Factory.
There you go.
Okay, yeah.
But no, they were good. Yeah, they
cool.
were good.
I'll have to have a look at them. That's cool. Well, I'll have to see them. Are you going to be on target for this? You're doing the slogan, are you?
Yeah.
Or trying
I'll put
to?
a bunch of other Chaos Dwarfs together. The Forge World ones. A little bit of a pain in the ass to put together, actually. And yeah, if I pull my finger out, I reckon I could. I'll definitely have them built. And I'll try and get them primed, and I'll see how I go with running, because I've got a couple of color schemes I was thinking about doing, and a couple were going to be more black orientated with metallic edging. I've seen a few similars. They look pretty cool, but it's something between less is more without being too simplistic, because I've seen some people do it and it just looks like a black model almost, with a bit of silver here and there. So yeah, I think I'll do a couple of test models and see how I go.
It's always like we were saying with Josh the other week, it's that first commitment to working out a colour scheme. Once you're there, it's fine, but it's like this hump you get over.
Well, if I did like
without burning through too many test models.
It. I know. If you did like the highlight priming well, and then you sort of went over it with a really light sort of black contrast, and then maybe do a bit of highlighting or touching up or edging with metallics from that, I reckon you could end up with something that looks really good rather than just matte, flat black.
Yeah, and be pretty quick. Yeah. Have you done any stippling and stuff like that before, and with like wool and stuff with metal, like so it looks scratched and bashed up and stuff? Because I'm thinking of doing all that with the 40k orcs, but I haven't done it yet. But I was like, similar problem where like a lot of it's, if you can get away with a lot of blacks and armor, then you can get it done really quick, but you also don't want to look just boring.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I've seen I've been trying to do it where guys can just get that real light brush effect, without having all the individual brushes sort of come down, and you just got that real fine line. Looks a bit textured. But the problem with that is that's more time, or else like obviously what you're talking about is obviously what I want to do, and you want something that's going to be
some type of quick, because I know the Games Workshop one too, they used to do it's probably, maybe it's a bit dirty for you, but it's like, I can't remember which brown it is, but there's a brown in the Citadel range that they'd water it down and almost make a glaze and put that over the black first, and then they'd use stippling like of the metal. So it was like this, you get black with a bit of this dirty, really light brown undertone to it, and then the like scratched up stuff, and it sort of looked not too bad. But I don't know. Haven't done. I'm going to try it on my orc like truck and stuff and see how that's.
And they've got those like sort of like I don't know if you call it weathering, but you've got like the different like corrosion. So you got like obviously the brassy turns get that greeny sort of corrosion, or you get the actual rusty corrosion effect. Yeah.
Rise of Rust one, and there's the AK. I think it's AK or whatever as well. They have a heap of these sort of effect paint type rusty. And obviously from just like historical gaming, there's heaps of paints and effects stuff you could probably look at, but I don't know enough about them. So anyway, cool.
So stay tuned.
Okay. So you got to well, get some pics up when you got some, but I can't even remember what a bull centaur looks like in terms of a new ones. I have to go and look at it. So I remember the old ones from GW, but,
they don't. The old ones just don't. It just doesn't have that aesthetic with the Forge World new release. So that's where chasing something up, and these models. Yeah.
Like I saw your ones, I just haven't seen them painted, so I have to go and maybe I'm assuming they've got painted ones on my Mini Factory.
I don't think they did.
Josh, when you found it, or that?
Nah.
Oh, they didn't.
No.
Oh, okay.
Just, unpainted.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm. Have you done, Andrew, or have you done some other stuff?
That is it.
Okay. Cool. I did finish my great swords to the point where I'm at least done with them, and they're in the cabinet. I don't know. Did you see my banner? Like I started freehanding a sun, which I want to finish, but I just went, it looks good enough for now. But actually, if you look at Avalon's stuff, it's usually got like a face on it, which I like, but then every picture you look at, it just looks a bit cartoony, and I'm like, oh, how could I make that look better? But then I'm not that good at it, so I'm like, I just left it as a sun, but I'm like, I should go back to it, but now it's in the cabinet. I probably won't go back to it, so I don't know.
Yeah, you never go back once it's in the cabinet.
So, and I did do some eyes on. Actually, I do need to finish some eyes. I did eyes on like the front two ranks, and then didn't get around to doing the rest. But because not all of them need eyes either, because they've got like the helmets. But I think I might have missed a few. Which usually I don't do eyes a lot on my on my 40. 50 halberdiers and stuff I got, but those ones they were a bit easier to do, I reckon, and they looked good, so I tried to put them on, but they look okay. I just need to get the swordsman done at some point, but I'm on to something else now. So I am trying to get my Tomb Kings ready for Old World, so I am going to start doing, and which I did start, getting the sepulchre, how do you say it? Sepulchre stalkers, or whatever they're called, the snake looking things, and then you got the snake rider ones as well, whatever they're called. I should know what they are. So I've started with the non snake walker ones, because they're the ones that got like a tomb guard on top as well. They're a bit, and to be honest, so the issue with the one I have with them is the snake and the tomb guard, someone's glued them on, because I bought them off someone else. I don't think it's plastic glue across the thing. I think it might be super glue, but it's just so hard to break that off without snapping the foot. But so I just grabbed I had 3 completed sepulchre stalkers, whatever they're called, the snake one, and just got some gold spray, because they're mostly gold. So I've just done that, and then I'm starting to paint those guys up. So I'll probably smash them out pretty quick. And I just can't resist, man. I've got that forest dragon that I got from you, Andrew, and he looks good, so I want to get him painted. So
I saw that.
Starting to do him, which is now making me go, maybe I should do the Wood Elves. So
you've got a dragon going, but not much else.
Yeah, that's right. So I'll see how I go, because I'm not going to do him in a week. I'll just like slowly go along. So maybe I'll get these snakes done and then start on some Wood Elves.
40k in the background of those painting pics too, I saw.
Well, I mean, the rule, I was going to pull I want to do 400 points on my orcs. That was what I was going to do as well.
A bit overcommitted there.
So I've done 9 of the orc boys, but I hadn't done the orc knob that comes with it. So I went, I'll get him out. And then it was just this dragon was just looking at me, and I went, I'll get them. And then someone commented on my picture and went, that's the most ADHD painting table I've ever seen. Because it was like, because at that point there was the great swords, there was Tomb King, there was a forest dragon, there was an orc, 40k orc in the background.
Let's go.
That's me. But now I'll try to keep it down in terms of the amount I'm doing, but like as in the different types. But it's good to have it's good to be not painting like tiny little humans at the moment. It's good to switch back and forth a bit. So, yeah. And the other thing I've been doing before we go on the main topic is just reading this, Talking Miniatures book, man. So I'll try and get around to you guys when I'm done. But if anyone listening doesn't know, it's just, it's basically, Robin Jews and John Stallard wrote a book. It's basically, I don't know how many interviews, 16 or 18 interviews with GW people in 2 volumes, which they might do a 3rd volume down the track, but you get the 2 volumes like in this one, like in a hardcover sort of, where you push the book in. But I think I'm up to, I've gone through 5 or 6 interviews now reading it. It's just done in interview format, so it's not like a novel or a history or anything. But yeah, no, it's good. You're just getting a lot of that cool. I don't know. It depends on how. You guys were around as long as me in terms of just the nostalgia of the old editions and when Rogue Trader kicked off, and then the early '90s, and just all that stuff. It's quite fun. And without spoiling too much of it, I did post 2 things I thought was funny. Was how they came up with the Sterling province name was the mechanics next door,
so
where they
ridiculous.
used to take their car. You could look out the window and there was Sterling Mechanics or whatever. So that became Sterling, which I thought was pretty funny. And then ultimately, the reason why, one of the primary reasons why the Horus Heresy happened was, at least by the sound of it, was it was just too expensive to make plastic miniatures. And so when they originally did the first Titanicus, they could only afford to do 1 plastic Titan, so they just made Titans fighting against Titans, and they needed a storyline to come up with, why is a Space Marine fighting another Space Marine? Oh, well, let's come up with a civil war, and then bang, that's how the Horus Heresy came out.
Right.
So it was purely down to the
Interesting.
tooling costs of the early days. So.
Wow, and that caused such destruction across the universe.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, so it sounds like, it's just like little things like that I thought were quite funny. And even down to, and I haven't actually gone back to look at it, but apparently the first Land Raider and Rhino tank were done as half sculpt, like, I don't know how this works, but they only made half of it. So then they put 2 sprues in and you could make a whole one from the halves. So because, again, they couldn't afford to do full sprues, like they just worked out how they could perfectly mirror the bits and make sure you had enough to make both sides. So I don't know how that works, but maybe, I guess it does if you're sticking tracks on either side of a Land Raider. They could be, you only need to provide 1 sprue with 1 track, so you just put 2 sprues in. Anyway, but it's interesting. Just all these little things that you go, okay, I can see the expensiveness of like what it would take back then. Obviously it's getting better now, but obviously the quality is better, so it costs more too. So it's interesting. So if you're after the history and stuff, it's definitely worth a read. So cool. Anyway, that's been my hobby time. Let's get on to the main topic. Actually, I do have a surprise. So you guys don't know what this is, but I thought it'd be funny. So it's got nothing to do with the main topic.
What's going on?
So I actually, I won't go into the background. Basically, I've been playing with ChatGPT and I've just asked it to generate a random question from Warhammer Fantasy rules or lore, and see if we can answer it. Okay,
Oh God.
Okay, so it is. The End Times was a cataclysmic event that reshaped the Warhammer Fantasy universe. A certain legendary dwarf character played a pivotal role during these events and met his end in a heroic act. Name this character and describe the heroic act that led to his demise.
I'm trying to think of which one.
Dwarf character End Times who died. So I don't know enough about
so in the End Times, like
because Gotrek didn't die, did he?
I don't think he did.
Because he's alive.
No, they all died.
I guess they all died. So I guess could I say Gotrek?
I don't remember exactly what it was, but the Slayer King, because the dwarf,
because
whoever it is,
whatever his name is,
the Slayer King, we'll just say that, because the king died by
Thorgrim, does he die? Is that
assassin Skaven, basically. So Queek Headtaker killed Belagar, and then Thorgrim killed Headtaker, and then he went back to his carrack, wherever he was, one of the carracks, and then I forget what his name is, but the assassin Skaven guy
feels like
came
he's
in and
almost
killed
got
him.
it.
So the king was gone. So the dwarves didn't have the king, and then basically the Slayer King sort of took over as being ruler of the dwarves. So it's something along those lines. And then when Chaos was invading, basically I don't know what city it was, but there was a bunch of Slayers, and the Slayer King went up, and they held off Chaos. Why? It was something pivotal. I think it was like why Teclis was doing something, or there was something was going on.
I vaguely remember it, but geez, it's. I remember reading them all, but they were just so. I was reading them on my iPad. I used to buy them on the iPad rather than the real book, and I think I just was like skimming them and then going. At some point, it just felt like, and they came out so quick.
Yeah.
There was just so much that it didn't go
there,
in.
but they all burned basically, and then that's why all the Slayers have come back as like, the fiery sort of in Age of Sigma.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, actually, you're close to be right then. I just asked ChatGPT to answer its own question, and they're saying it's Thorgrim Grudgebearer, who's the king of the High Dwarves in the end times of Cataclysm period. However, the exact heroic act leading to his demise during the end times are not provided in the information I found. Okay, I don't know. Who knows? They're saying it was Thorgrim, but I don't know. Who knows?
Well, he killed Tweak.
ChatGPT, but anyway, sorry, that was
against the Skaven.
Anyway, I thought that would be funny to throw in. I was hoping it would come up with more rule stuff, but I kept doing it, and it kept mainly doing law. So I don't know if it can't get access to the rules, but anyway, that's why I was trying to get there. Anyway, so we're going to talk about the main topic now, which was the rules to keep or rules to get rid of, or oddity things to add, or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. Do you want to just go down ones that we've added type thing? So when I'm just not talking the whole time or whatever, but like, do you want to just do one each as we go, or?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Sounds good. So do you want to we'll start with things that we think we either want we want to see in the old world, basically.
Who wants to start?
Shall we start with how about the fleeing rules?
Okay.
I picked that from the bottom of that list.
That's fun.
Cool. I just feel like I would like the 6th edition flee rules are a bit of a headache.
Just go around and do this, and if you can't, do something else, and then if you can't do anything, then you might have to go through someone. And it's like
it's so clunky. And then trying to work out not just that, but also if you're pursuing someone who's fleeing, do you still clip the unit that's behind them or not? Kind of thing. If they're going between the gap, do you just follow them through the gap, or do you still hit that unit? It's just there's so much grey area. There's so much grey area.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So I feel like the adaptation in 8th, where it was just like, maybe it was the 7th as well, or was it just 8th?
I haven't.
Where they pop through.
Was it?
Go in a straight line, 7. Pop through the other side of the unit. And if you go through like an enemy unit, you take some damage or whatever, or your dangerous terrain checks and stuff.
Is that sort of more what I did that time when I played Andrew, like pop through stuff, fleeing or whatever? Oh, that's fleeing, so not pursuing. Fleeing. Is that what you're saying? You flee, you pop through. Okay.
Yeah. So
I
think that got adapted into 9th and
definitely 9th.
That Warhammer project as well. That you just pop through, and I think it's just.
I think it just feels like we've had enough of this examples of ranked up flee pursuit stuff that surely we can have a set of rules that's quite. It doesn't even have to be realistic. Hey, you just want stuff that's just covers what happens in a normal bloody game. It's surprising that some of that stuff just isn't in there written very clear. Is it?
I'll do one of mine then. I'll just put in I like the move characteristic for charges. So it takes the flop out of the old 2d6. It just used to just kill me when you had cavalry or something, even though you got 3 dice, you can still just flop, and it didn't seem realistic. So it wasn't just the realism thing, but as well. But I feel like if you're in a position where you should be able to charge, then you should be able to charge. Like,
yeah.
So do you hate? Does that? Because that's interesting. Because it's sort of against one. Well, mine's a controversial one. I'm not even sold on it, to be honest. But which I'll get to. But yeah, but
well, yours sort of leads into this, really.
Yeah. It's like. Yeah, it's like, so it's about the pre-measuring stuff, I guess, a little bit here. So like, and one thing I've always thought, and I thought maybe you wouldn't sit on this side, Andrew, was being a dwarf player. It's like you never get a 6-inch charge.
I don't like that fact,
so,
but they could put a rule in.
So I like this idea how you could at least make it a bit variable in the sense that sometimes you can get a charge, sometimes you can't. But I know what you mean. These ideas where, you roll, it's a 90% chance and you still fail a charge. It just felt a bit, yeah.
And then 8th edition, the way they play the ram and charge distances for infantry, where it's like you move over 4 inches plus 2d6 inches.
Yeah, it's a very variable, isn't it? Yeah. Was it 9th age that changed it to just a d6, or someone changed something to you double move with a d6, or was it anything?
I can't remember what 9th age did off the top of my head. I know I was looking this up with Army Project with WAP. They were doing you roll 2 dice and then select the highest.
Okay. Well, maybe that's
which actually is a really good solution.
Yeah. So it becomes a lot more. I don't know what the maths on that are, but it must be something like pretty high chance that you're getting 4, 5, or 6. Or 4 or 5. Like it must push the average from 3.5 to close to 5, probably. I don't know what the maths are, but
a little bit. I mean, maybe 4 to 5, but because average of 2d6 is 7.
Yeah, so
the highest of 2 dice, maybe just under 5.
Maybe it pushes it to a 4, maybe, but then at least you're going, okay, well, at least 4. If I add 3 onto anything, it's a pretty good chance that I'm going to get it.
Yeah, and it's a narrow band of randomization in that if you're trying to charge an infantry unit, they can only go like up to an additional 6 inches, they can't roll,
but they can do their
6.
double. Is that right? Or not? No. So it's movement plus up to
up to 6, yeah.
So what happens if your movement was like I guess what happens with cavalry?
Cavalry had the Swift Strider special rule, which means they do what the normal one was 3d6 and then choose the 2 highest.
Okay, so those things are just not charging as far. They're charging like, if you've got a movement of 9, you're only going 15.
Yeah, which is the same as what 8th had, I think. But then interestingly in Army Project, they also had a specific sub rule where if your base movement is 6 inches or less, your Swift Stride is only 2d6. Which is a bit of a random, slightly more confusing way of approaching it. Ogres, basically, ogres would be a good example, I think, where they actually get a further charge than your normal infantry kind of thing.
Yeah, I just think, I don't know, and I don't know where they're going with it, because I was actually going to pull out things like Heresy. I know it's a different game, but it's sort of that same era where you're
Heresy?
Sort of going, what did they, I'm pretty sure a lot of the 40k stuff, because they always have...
Isn't that just a D6 on top of your move or something?
But you know how they always used to have like a movement phase and they have a charge phase and you could do another move, and then you get that, they 50 different move things. But they had the variability. Now, I don't know if Horus Heresy has that. I'm assuming it probably does because a lot of them always did. So I feel like Games Workshop maybe like that sort of randomity a little bit in there. So it'd be interesting to see how that'll go. Not that we're saying this is what they're going to do. This is what we would rather than do.
I'm pretty sure they're going to do it. But I feel like I agree with Andrew in that it's the band of randomization that's too wide. That's the frustrating part. Like if you're charging with a cav and you could only go between like 14 to 18 inches or something, like that would be okay, But if there's times when you're charging like 12 inches and you fail it, that's when it's actually just really frustrating.
Well, it's pretty dumb though if you could. I can't charge them, but I'll march then right up to an inch away from them because I could. It's a bit. Yeah. No, so going on to mine though, which is sort of related to that, is I just can't get my head around which way I'd actually prefer it, around pre-measuring or not. And the only thing I would say, and I'll probably preface all my things here, is that I'm probably looking at this from a point of view of what do I want to see if I'm playing in a tournament. And I'm not even a massive tournament player, but I like things that are just cleaner and quicker. And so when I'm thinking are they going to allow pre-measuring or not? I did actually open up Horus Heresy and they allow pre-measure. And that's when I started going, what are they going to do here? And I know I'm not saying what they're going to do. What would rather? And I love guessing ranges. And I'm actually quite good at it and all that sort of stuff. But I don't know, like even just chatting about, castle site where we were talking, like we even talked to Andrew about the whole, what's a pre-measure? People get up in arms if you sort of go, oh, that's about 6 inches and that's about 6 inches. So and then someone might go, you're pre-measuring. It's like, but I haven't picked up the tape. And it's just, so this whole, I don't know, I feel like that's why I'm probably leaning towards, I would rather just bring back pre-measuring where everything can just be done. I can, like chess, I can align stuff, agree. I can say, hey, Andrew, I'm trying to do that. I'm pretty sure you're in my arc. Yep, you're in my arc. Yep. And you're in, it's a 13 charge. Yep, it's a 13 charge. Okay, we can agree on it, go to the next one. And it just speeds it up and there's no arguing. And whereas pre-measure, like without it, it's like you've rolled the dice and then you have this big, oh shit, no, I don't think it's right. And it's like, So I don't think you should make a game based on just tournament sort of reasons, but
I think that's exactly why they changed it, and I'd be surprised if they went back to guessing ranges for that precise reason. I think it was always a cause of friction.
Yeah. Well, so do you think, going to Andrew's thing, do you think you can have pre-measuring but with fixed double move charge like 6, or do you always need that randomity? And it seems like, you know what I mean? It seems like you either have one or the other, and I don't know if that's true or not, but it feels like.
I think you have to, because part of the fun of the game is lining up your charges, but there's always a little bit of uncertainty about whether you're in the charge range or not. And if you didn't have the uncertainty, I think it would take away a little bit of
bit of fun. Yeah, a bit of, fuck, I didn't make it.
Because even guessing, as much as you're getting better at it with the games you play, you still don't know 100%. And even though the margin of error is getting smaller and smaller, you still just don't know quite sure sometimes. And
and I think I'd rather play the percentage game than someone who just can't. And this is going to sound weird, but if I can't play, like one of our mates is a quadriplegic now. I don't know if you remember. I won't go into it, but he does play 40K, I think. There's no way he can play technically. Like, I don't know, maybe you can, but like, like if you've got a disability and you can't really like guess ranges or you can't see as well or something like that, it's putting a lot of stuff in the way. Whereas if I'm I can even measure for him and go, it's 13, you need to roll this dice. I'll roll the dice for you, bang, done. You know what I mean? Like, and again, I'm not going to pull the whole accessibility thing, but I feel like maybe that helps, and it definitely helps playing online. Tabletop simulator. So
I'd never consider that. But
having said that, it's controversial because I know a lot of people do not want pre-measure and they want like guess ranges and stuff, which I totally understand as well because it is fun. So cool. But I'll probably vote that it comes back. But anyway, cool. Josh, what's another one that you want to see come back?
What are we going to see come back? You mean from 6 into the old world?
No, that doesn't matter. Whatever.
Well, one thing I'd like to see back is shooting in more than one rank. It's just so ridiculous having everything strung out in a line just so you can shoot with everyone in the unit. Because they're already it disadvantages them enough. That they're not very fighty. And at least having a one rank, if they get charged, I don't know. It's I think
it's a good way to just buff. Buff.
B, it just
ballistic skill shooting. Hey, like the only is there any army apart from, and I don't know what Wood Elves are like, but I know in 8th with their different what is it, the different arrows they could get. Then yes, the gun line and ballistic skill shooting was a bit crazy, but outside of that, I just don't think it's that big a deal. And so I'd rather see more arrows.
Yeah, which is actually a little tangent that I did want to talk about a little bit.
Go for it.
In terms
of love tangents.
Potential alterations. Because, I did play one game of Warhammer Armies Project, and the alterations he makes for BS shooting was really interesting. It actually felt a lot more potent, I guess, because he takes away long range penalty.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I did see that on the list that I posted.
Which is already like quite a big jump. And then I think he's also changed a couple of the weapons. Like I think Bo's buffed to have the multiple shots too.
Yeah, right.
Special rule.
Yeah,
As long as you haven't moved or you standing.
Oh, okay.
What's the word?
Volley fire.
Charge response. Like you stand and shoot. Like so you can't do a stand and shoot. But otherwise, if you're standing still, you can volley fire with two shots for each bow, which is it just makes bows a bit more potent because in the game they're just like baseline and no one ever.
It's a good
really
way. Yeah, it just flows into so many things too because like a lot of those bow units are crappy core choices, and then if they're suddenly not so crappy anymore, you get more choice around how you want to build your army. You know.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. That'd be really good. And it makes it look cool, like having ranked up units, but shooting out. I mean, they can shoot up, so they should be able to shoot over each other.
Yeah, absolutely plausible. But I feel like the long range penalty is actually taking away that one penalty. I think would actually improve BS shooting significantly.
Yeah, because you know what? It's funny. Like, how often do you shoot at someone who's not long range? Because most of the time by then you're charging or they're charging. Like it's, or you're doing a standard shoot, which you get a penalty on anyway. Yeah. So I feel like, that's a really good, it's a good point.
That's mine then.
Back to me. Yeah.
Andrew? Another one, Andrew, that you
in
liked?
sixth, I do like the way that the unit can pivot around without having to lose all your movement. So not doing a full reform.
Oh, you mean like they turn 1 inch and then you can move?
So you can turn like what is it, 1 inch per
per 90 degrees.
I like that. I think that's pretty cool. It just seems a bit more realistic than like almost. I didn't mind it so much in like 8th and 9th age where you kind of had a swift reform.
Had to do a swift reform.
It was a little bit advantageous because it just seemed like you just have a musician was like an auto include basically, and there was no pretty much penalty for that other than you couldn't march. I think that was about it. But at least this you can pivot around. It just to me it seems like a bit more realistic because it takes a bit of work really. Like I would have thought in real life to you got a big block of people like to change directions. It's not like you're just going to quickly turn to your right.
Well, the weirdest thing, and 6 explains it, but then it gets a bit crazy, is it's not actually, you literally are just turning. So like if you're in 5x3, you're technically in 3x5 now, and you've got to like shift everything around. Like which no one ever does. So that's where I think, again, it's a tricky one. In 8th, could you move sideways? I can't remember. Or not yet.
Yes, half speed. You could move sideways.
Same as backwards.
Okay, that's
essentially
sort of
works out
ways.
the same as 6 in a way.
Yeah, because most people do side and then side. So you're doing half movement that way, like left or right. See what I'm doing there. But
Yeah, so quarter to turn, half you move, and then another quarter to turn forward again. Yeah.
So, okay, cool. So it's funny because we'll talk about one of the ones that I probably maybe want to get rid of or change later, which is related to that. So I'd love to see your thoughts on that one. It's the next one. Who wrote the other one? I like the way unit turns, pivots, works. Oh, is that the one you're talking about? Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah.
I just put my name and then my 3 things straight after it. Yeah.
Oh, right.
So if you see me, everything below is mine. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. No worries. I like going back to 6. I actually like choosing like that slot based thing where you have 3. Like I like this, especially because we're playing 2,000 points a lot, where you have to make that choice.
Yeah, that is
you
good.
Can't get. You can only get one lord in and stuff. I think the only thing I would add to this is I think it's standard across the board, and I don't think that's. Well, I think it is, isn't it?
It is.
Whereas I think it probably should be different across the board.
I think there is some variability. Like Bretonians get 1 extra character.
Okay, yeah. So maybe they did. So again, I'll probably just want what they've done in 6 then. Like I like that idea that because I could imagine goblins and stuff. It's I want more lords than a chaos like 3.
Yeah, true.
So-
I mean, Gobbo, I think, because Gobbos, you can take 2 extra Goblin characters if you've only got Goblin characters in the army.
cool.
Yeah.
So they are doing that. Okay, so
they've got
to
a
that.
little bit of that going on.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Like having slots versus percentages, like it does, especially like when you're talking about the special units. I think especially, and maybe the rare too. Like there's limitations you get having only a certain number of slots versus just having percentages. Like, because if you want to take multiple quite cheap units in a certain band, that will actually limit your ability to take other units
stuff
in that category.
Yeah. And they're still able to balance it a bit different because there's a few examples where they sort of say you can take, or you can only take one of this, or I think there's a couple of examples where they say you can take,
two,
or you can take two of them for the price of one or whatever, or whatever. Yeah.
Like your bolt throwers and that type of thing.
Yeah.
Which I think, is a really good way of, balancing that out.
Because I just think that, the percentage stuff just ended up, everyone talked about the core tax, which was true in the sense that you're just trying to fill up 25% of crap. Whereas if you have got an army where, that core thing isn't so useful, at least, you've only just got to fill a certain amount, not like spend 25% or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, you can take advantage of it a bit more, I guess, but it is nice to know. And I guess the other thing to remember with 8th edition is they really played with the character percentages progressively. Didn't it start off like 25% lords and 50% characters in total or something? And then the lords just got folded into the characters, and it was like 50% for everything. And then,
well, I know End Times changed it to 50% for everything. But
was
then I can't remember.
Was it End Times? Was it when it got 50?
I don't know.
I thought it got higher.
Thing. It might have. Yeah, maybe.
I think it went to 75. I can't remember actually.
Actually, you know what? I think you were right. Near the end, they did change it to something crazy. It was just getting ridiculous.
I think it went to 75%. So you had 25% core and 75% characters, and that was potentially your entire army.
They were probably trying to make us hate the game.
Stupid.
So then when they blew it up,
probably just trying to sell all those sweet characters they were churning out.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, I think I seem to remember the guys that I remember an old story from years ago about the guys that were doing the Swiss comp, like the guys that were running it or something. Were, they heard that as a rumor and they like burst into laughter, saying they would never do it. They would never make it 75% characters, and then it became a thing. We were all like, "What the hell? What just happened?" Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree. Slots are a cool way to do it. So I'll be next. So BSBs. Now this is one that there are elements that I'd like to keep, and there are elements that I don't want to keep. I guess depending on which edition we're talking about. I felt like in 6th edition they don't do enough, but in 8th edition they maybe do too much.
Yeah,
they're an auto include in 8th because they deal so well with psychology. But in 6th edition, they don't do anything other than rerolls your break tests, and the limitations you have with equipment and that type of thing really, I think, limits a lot of armies' desire to take them.
Does it even? It doesn't. So in 6, it doesn't even add up combat result, does it?
No.
If you've already got a standard.
If you've got a standard, it doesn't add anything.
And then you can't obviously take the magic weapons if you've taken a magic standard. So there's like heaps of
often not. Yeah, and you're limited with your mundane weapons and stuff as well. So it really,
I like so with this, I think it's an interesting time. And again, I'd like to have you looked at I think it's Armies Project, how they've tried to make like champions, standards, and musicians sort of like all have a different role.
Yeah, I saw that. That was really interesting.
Yeah, I don't actually mind it. I don't know how well it works. And I think it gets a little confusing, but also then I get the logic. So I think I'm probably not going to get this right, but it's like champions allow you to re-roll the tests sort of to do with like where you need leadership, like, like reforms or like redirecting a charge, something where you expect the leaders telling you what to do, and that's where you re-roll. So you'd get a champ for that. Is that right? You might know more than me. And then musicians did, what do they do? Something. Are they re-rolling break tests? Yes, they're re-rolling like break tests and stuff, or whatever it was. And then the standards are there for combat res or something like that. Right? So there's like different, something like that anyway. So there's like different like, I don't know. Just it felt like more.
I feel like the BSBs still do the break test re-roll.
The BSB probably does. Sorry, the unit standard did something like it was just combat res, not reroll. I think the musician was doing a reroll for something. which I thought was interesting.
I think the musician was doing your swift
Or was that rally?
reform.
Sorry.
Or your
And
rally.
rally.
Yeah. Instead of
Yes,
adding
sorry,
+1
rally.
to your rally, it re-rolls your rally.
Yes,
which
that's
is
what it
that.
was. Yeah.
And
So
then,
is the
yeah.
standard still doing?
Standard's
The
just
BSB
+1.
is still doing your reroll break
Oh.
tests or psychology or what in WAP?
Oh, yeah. So the standard is doing just your +1 to combat. Interestingly, it's cumulative. So if you have more than one standard, you can have extras. Which also
That's-
did.
I
Also
like that.
for rank bonus as well. You know, they've cumulative for that, which I think that's a totally valid change. Yeah.
You could even have like because the cool thing with that is, I don't know, maybe you could play around with lists like army construction in the sense that it's BSBs or not even BSBs, but like certain characters could act as a standard as well. So you can actually have more things, you know, like it's not just a BSB and a standard, but you might have some other thing in there that acts as that. So you can cumulative it up depending on the army and what it does, you know, like, I don't know. Hopefully I think the underlying thing is just make them more useful, but not overpower. Like, don't take the psychology out of the game, which is the big thing you're saying.
Yeah.
Eh? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. And so the BSB in that game, in that adaptation, it rerolls break tests and failed panic checks.
Gotcha.
And
but
that's
not
it.
the other ones.
So not your other psychology, which that's closer to a
But
nice
failed
balance.
panic is the one so hang on, but it wouldn't do a fear test.
Doesn't
but
do
it would
fear,
but panic is the one that you want when they're running away. But
Yeah. So it does produce. I mean, I'd probably prefer just breaks and maybe +1 for your combat res, and then no equipment limitations.
But what about rallies like as well then? Because then you just go, well, you have a BSB, but stops your reroll, it gives you reroll to breaks and rallies. But if you're getting fear bombed, at least it disrupts your line, but they're probably going to rally. You know what I mean? Like I think that would be cool.
Yeah, as opposed to having the musician do it.
Yeah. But then what's a musician do, I guess? Yeah, I don't know. But then, maybe a musician is more around something like, we talked about like randomity around charges and stuff. It'd be cool if they were more involved in that. So if you want more guaranteed charges and stuff like that, you have musicians because they help coordinate.
Ninth did that for
getting in position.
The champion. It was like if you had a champion, it was a minimum 5-inch roll or something.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so those type of things would be probably pretty cool and makes the muso a little bit more different to the others.
Minimum of
4, was it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
in 1.3, way back in the day, it's got 4 here. Back in 2017. Oh god. Yep. Okay. Cool.
And Andrew, you want some more rules?
So would be nice to see. When I say this, it was sort of like bringing out more along the lines of in every edition probably before 8th. I'm guessing. I don't know if they did it in 7th, but you just had like your little White Dwarf, which is kind of changed because White Dwarf used to be a lot more hobby orientated and sort of like battle reports and whatnot. But obviously all the little rules and things that they brought along with that would be nice. If like you just get that fluff stuff, or maybe as part of the if they are going to be doing like a general's handbook or something like that, they bring.
I was going to say, is that sort of like what those?
So there's like these, just little cool things that you can bring and a bit of fluff along the side, especially if you've got like a dynamic world where you've got events and things happening.
I think but isn't it so good for them to be able to, like, the old way of doing, like, bring out an army, release like half the units in new sculpts, and then bash the marketing for 2 months and then go, oh, that didn't sell very well, versus every 3-6 months bring out this campaign book with stuff that touches at least half the factions, even if it's just one model or one little thing. It keeps everyone involved,
and you got the option of
like,
you can use the original what's in the book, or you can use these new rules for this bit, or just some bit of fluffy stuff. I reckon it'd be good.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's in White Dwarf, I probably won't get it because I probably don't buy White
don't know if
Dwarf, but I
anybody does
totally would
anymore.
get any type of book they bring out. Yeah.
Maybe you will now if they put a dwarf in it.
Yeah, you know what? I probably will if it's got Old World. I'll probably buy everything that has Old World. So as soon as, you're probably right. Who am I kidding? Yeah. And then pretty much back to almost Josh's BSB thing. I love the that auto break on Fear.
That's pretty cool.
Oh
When
man,
you outnumber
dude,
people.
that's crazy.
I love it.
I feel like it's one of the most unbalanced elements of Six.
Well, I
to
probably
me.
haven't been beaten too bad on it yet because I haven't played many Vamps and I haven't played Tomb Kings against Tomb Kings. But
Well, that's
I
true.
love
You've
that
been
idea.
playing too.
I love it. So good.
It's bad. I feel like it actually skews the meter a little bit already.
Too far into those ones.
Like I feel like even just in the year since it's become like a lot of people playing 6th edition, more and more I feel like it's being pushed into a lot of the armies that are doing well are either vampire counts or their armies that are immune to psychology because they can deal with the auto breaks.
Deal with it. Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And I feel like it's almost like even like watching, this comes to my head, when like with Andrew, when you were building your dwarf list, you kind of like were selecting for units that could deal with the fear or that weren't going to auto break. You know, it was actually it becomes like, you know, it's changing that the value of the immunopsychology a little bit too much, I feel. And you know, either the immunopsychology is undercosted slightly or the auto break is a bit too powerful. So and maybe it should just be like an extra certain number of combat res.
Yeah, that could be a thing because I think the biggest thing isn't so. I mean, the auto break's been fun, but fear just is non-existent in 8th, and that's a combination of that and or, you know, like you're saying, BSBs and psychology is sort of not really there.
Which is really sad.
So I feel like that. Fear, the fact that you have to think about it when you build a list tells me that I think they've got it closer to being right in 6. It's just whether or not the auto break correct or not. You're right. It'd be interesting. Yeah, maybe it's double your combat, maybe it's double your rank bonus, like a Griffin standard if you call it fear or something. You know, so you have to kill more people, or I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what 9th had as actually. Let me have a look. So I remember I looked up the I'm a project, and it was +1 to your combat res for fear, and then +2 if your unit strength was double. Which I feel like is pretty more. Which I feel like it could, you know, that's a bit underdone. I feel, you know. I feel like, it's interesting, as you say, if double rank bonus, that's actually a good idea. Because that plays into like your big horde of scary guys, you know, like
what happens if you just get like a month, like, you know, you're just fighting like 3 trolls, they still cause fear there. Like what can they do that was there one of them? Was it 8th that was like? Was it -1 to your? Was there something that was minus to your leadership?
-1.
Yeah, that was in 9th. Yeah, so -1 to modify.
Right.
And then if you fail it, you're like weapon skill 1.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's just something. I just feel like it just feels so. I mean, I guess I am playing a fear-causing army, so I've noticed it more. But I just. As much as my orcs and goblins, for example, I mean, again, I'm playing savages, so it probably doesn't count. But, you know, you think orcs and goblins should be running away and scared of things, but I don't really remember fear being a big thing in 8th, and even terror.
No, it's not.
And I just think they're missing out on it. So, yeah.
No.
So anyway, hopefully they bring back that a bit somehow.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to keep it to some extent.
Yeah. Nah. Totally get it. Cool. So, and there'll be others that we probably want to add. They get a bit grey area anyway when you start saying, I don't want this, but I want something else. So, so the next section we do have like, what do we want to see gone?
Look, this is a full-on wish list, so you know we can ask for whatever we want.
What do you want gone, Josh?
What do I want?
Auto break and fear.
Yeah. That would be funny. Look, I actually, there is one thing that I think Andrew was sort of alluding to, which is about, you know, reforming, and he was talking about swift reforms and that being a bit potent. I feel like having post-combat reforms is also can be a little bit of a problem,
Yes, you actually like the 6th one where you're sort of just stuck.
Yeah.
So you mean, I don't mind it either.
I do. I much prefer certain units being
Yeah.
stuck, because that way you can deal with some really powerful units.
Yeah.
You know, they're not
totally.
gonna turn on a dime and then charge sideways the next turn. You know, you actually have to think about where this unit is going. What's it's going to be, which direction is it going to be pointing to the following turn, and then try to plan ahead.
I wonder if they could do something where it's like you can do a post-combat reform, but you have to have won the combat and be outnumbering them with unit strength and stuff, because then it sort of makes it a bit more. Because it's a bit silly when you've got a big unit and this little unit comes in the side and you're just stuck fighting that. Whereas it'd be cool if you could.
Oh, like if you get flank charged and then combat reform in the combat. Yeah, no, I agree about that. I think that's a different rule, though. Like I'm talking about after the combat. Like
sorry, you are. Yeah, so yeah. No, totally. I get what you mean. Yep. Sorry, I'm getting confused here. You're talking about the combat's over and you're just, because you've blown someone away and whatever, and you're just stuck there. Then next turn you've got to just operate like normal.
Yeah, that's right. Because in 6, either you blow some away, they either flee or you destroy them, and then you've actually got the opportunity. If you don't pursue, you can choose to reform in any direction in the end of that combat phase.
Yeah,
you know, which means then you can actually then proceed to charge whatever you want the following turn. Which actually leads into something that I felt like we did need to discuss this a bit. This is slightly longer sort of topic, but when we're talking about all these concepts, one thing I felt like we did need to actually mention was what kind of game would we be hoping for? You know
that's a good
like,
point. Yeah, like the overall, and I sort of touched on it with that sort of tournament type thing, but not so much tournaments. But
because like I'm just trying to think about like what because it's interesting that 6 became so popular over 8th, if you know what I mean, because it is a much earlier edition, that type of thing. And I feel like part of it is just that it really
is that just because where we are though. Like, is that true? Like, is there other places that play? Like, it does feel like there's 8th being played elsewhere, not in Australia, maybe. Yeah.
Well, no, there is, and even Australia. Like, there's a fair few that play 8th in Melbourne and that type of thing. I think, but I think the scene has gravitated towards 6.
Yeah.
And I feel like nothing wrong with 8th really, but I think 6 does reward like outmaneuvering your opponent and thinking ahead in the game and a few things like that. Whereas a lot of the rules in 8th sort of leads towards big units that don't get penalized if they get flanked, and that kind of thing. I feel like a game where you've got multiple smallish units that you need to coordinate to get off flank charges and that type of thing, where the movement phase is critical. I feel like that'd be the type of game that we will be hoping for.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. No, totally. It actually goes a little bit, and I'll probably talk to this in my random one. Remind me when we talk about objective-based type gaming, because I think it potentially sometimes goes against like, I don't know if we can play like the other games do as much because of the way movement is done in fantasy. So we can talk a little bit about that when I get to that. But I do feel like I don't know. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like I would like to see that those out of position, like there should be multiple cases in a game where someone is out of position, like that's because that's the fun bit. They just haven't gone, no, I'm going to got my 2 big hordes and just push them forward and just bugger you. There's nothing you can do about it.
And if you flank me, it doesn't matter. I'm steadfast. You just bounce off me. I'll probably have some special rules that mean I strike first and kill you anyway. Actually,
no one wrote that, did they? Oh, that was someone's suggestion. Charges strike first, which I like too.
That is a topic actually.
But someone asked that. Someone gave us that suggestion, which I like too, because it does. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that then? Because I like it. I think interestingly, again, going back to Warhammer Armies Project, they've sort of adapted that into 8th edition, where it's sort of like certain weapons give you initiative bonuses on the charge.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So a lance gives you +2 initiative, or if you're a spear that's taking a charge for certain units, you get +1 initiative kind of thing. And I feel like that's it sort of gets that sort of halfway between, all or nothing.
Yeah.
And it still rewards charging to a certain extent.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, because it's one of these things, isn't it? It's like at some point, I hate profiles being all over the shop, but I also do like the idea because they did this in 10th where a lot of things started moving into the weapons, which actually then made it more flexible sometimes because depending on, they could make different weapons do different things. Like, you know, a Bretonian could have a lance that does +4 initiative, and then an orc's lance, if they had a lance, might only be +1 still. You know, you could play around with that a little more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas when it's a rule like, you know, charges strike first, you don't really, there's not much you can do about it. So there is some advantage there, but it does mean you're starting to have to remember more stuff potentially. That's the only negative, but that's all good. No, cool. What did anything, Josh? Not Josh, Andrew. What do you want to see go on? I like this one.
Oh, this is
It's sad if that happens, but
yeah.
You reckon it's gone?
Oh, it's gotta be gone.
Is it gone in like Horus Heresy and all? That's all just
interestingly no. No, they still have the templates in Heresy.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry. Sorry, yeah. Sorry, yeah, you're right. Yep. No, I'm thinking about something else. Sorry. Yeah, templates. Yeah. So I was talking about the scatter dice as such as well.
No, this is the templates, but the scatter dice and all that. So, or both. So basically, I love and hate templates because there's nothing more fun than getting a little gyrocopter out and getting. Or you drag it.
Did my spearman the other day.
You just like lay your little template down. You're just like scanning them all up. You're just like, ooh.
They work great in casual because you're over there. I'm on the other side of the table. You're telling me how many of my people you're killing, and I don't give a shit. Where you do that in a tournament game, and everyone gets narky.
I think that's the problem with it. Is like there's just too much room for error. There's too much room for millimeters or. Oh, that's covering 10. It's, no, it's only covering 8. So it's sort of, and the scatter dice is just, it's so inaccurate. It's not funny. I've had a few games. You have like a scatter dice, and then somehow just like scatters like right in the middle of a unit, and then you just sort of like. You're thinking it's probably like half an inch or an inch out, and I'm like, am I really going to be this guy arguing over a
Well, sometimes I've literally, because obviously we all do it. Like you try to roll the scatter dice as close to the thing as possible. But even then, I've seen people go like, and it's actually helped me sometimes. But they've like lined up the thing, going, it's that way. And I'm looking at it, going, I don't know. Maybe I'm blind, but I'm like, that's not even the same angle. It's like 10 degrees different. And I was like, what are you looking at?
It's just clunky.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I feel like you lose something by taking it away. Like, I think there's a lot of flavor there. And also there's a bit of a, if you're trying to shoot a stone thrower at a unit and you've got two of your own units like next to it, there's actually still a bit of a way up of the risk and benefits of doing that, which you would lose a bit if you don't have a scatter. But I totally agree. Yeah, everything you said. Otherwise,
it's I don't have an answer. Yeah. Like I think for me, I would be happy either way. Like if they turn around and go, we've got rid of it. We're doing like I don't know, like a blast attack type thing where this drag. It's 2d6 for whatever, and 3d6 or something for a bigger weapon or whatever it is. At least it's just to me, I'd go, that's quick. I don't have to argue about it. But you're right. I lose that fun part of scattering off and hitting. Like the other day when we played, Josh, and my stone troll scattered off and killed my own, skeletons. It's fun.
No, it was my Treb did
damage. Your trebuchet scattered off its main thing and hit
your two skellies, and that was enough to pop the unit.
So those things are fun, and you talk about them. So it's just, but I get it. Like it's just hard for competitive play. That's for sure.
Yeah, but Games Workshop never makes games for competitive play.
No, and they won't be doing that particularly. Like, they don't care too much on that. So I don't think it'll go, but I get why you put it here. That's for sure.
Does Kings of War have any templates like that?
No, they've just got. I think they've called Blast, isn't it called Blast or something like that? Or cool. Oh, and so me, So this is what do you think of this one, which is related to your other world, which is the wheel. So because something in now I should have gone back and looked, but Kings of War do pivoting, and now I can't remember exactly how it works, but I'm like, I like it because there's no fucking around with movement, like trying to work out, like it's just so hard to measure properly, arcs, whereas just pivot around the center. But have you guys played Kings?
No.
Yeah, damn, I should have got the rule book up and looked at it. I can't remember, but it's something, I'm pretty sure their movement is just, marches and pivots, but I just can't remember how much a pivot changes a movement. But
I think you just pivot and then you move, isn't it?
Like, you just all the time, it doesn't take anything.
I don't know.
Can you do a 180?
I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Warhammer Army Project does also have pivoting, I think, actually, now that you say it.
What, no wheeling?
Let's double check. Let's see.
And I'm not against wheeling per se. I just feel like it's one of these other areas where it just, I don't know. It's or maybe it's how they describe a wheel. Like I'd almost rather just go. It's like like the 8th edition. I like the 8th edition how you measure the charge. It's like closest point to closest point. That's the number you got to get. I feel like maybe a wheel is that as well, and it sort of is, but it's sort of not described that way. It's like you can move over there, but your outside edge to your outside edge has to be less than your movement or something like that type of thing. Because then you are doing a wheel, but you're not ever actually trying to measure the arc. You're just measuring the straight across angle, which again, yes, makes you move a bit quicker. But do I care? I just I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? You don't have any issues with the wheels per se, but
no.
Not really. I'm used to that. Really, yeah.
I don't mind the wheel. It's just it can get clunky trying to measure it. That's about.
Especially if you're doing a snake thing where someone's like, you've gone a bit here, and then you go straight, then you go here, and I'm just like, oh, who cares? Just pivot, move, pivot. Even though it's not very realistic, the wheel is by far more realistic.
Well, you could definitely do something like that if there's like like you move and then 45 is going to be like an inch. I don't know how you want to do it, but just.
Yeah, I can't say that. I should have looked first before I wrote it there. But
like you said.
Because I wouldn't want it free because I think that's a bit too much flexibility. 100%. But Josh, do you have other stuff that you hate?
Sorry, I was looking at pivoting. I'm sure you can pivot in Warhammer Army Project anyway. What are we at? So
was there any other stuff? Oh, this is screwed up a bit. Yeah, you steadfast, I think.
Steadfast.
Doesn't like it.
Yes. Yeah, get rid of it.
Yeah, don't. Oh, I don't like how it's implemented.
Oh, innate.
That's how I'll put it. Yeah, innate. Because you keep it in when you get flanked, which I always felt like was a bit of a problem. I think in 9th edition they changed it so if you get charged by
2 ranks,
is it like 2 ranks or something?
Yeah,
you take away steadfast, which I think is a good, at least it's possible to deal with. But I feel like it's not that strongly needed. I don't know. I feel like that it's trying to treat an underlying problem, which is that as you got step up and all that other stuff going on, that the relative value of static combat res actually decreased significantly. And so steadfast was really put in there as a way of keeping the larger infantry blocks sort of on a par with units that might put out a lot more attacks. Whereas I feel like it might have been better off to buff your rank bonus or something like that.
Agreed.
And deal with things in that regard. Yeah.
What do you? I mean, did anyone write this? But what did you guys? Because I had it in my other list, but maybe I didn't write it here. What do you think about step up?
I don't have strong feelings about it. I think it does make it easier to track the combat sometimes, just so that because sometimes you have to go, oh, he's dead, oh, that one's dead, he goes strike, that kind of thing.
Well, that's I got that in mind.
Is it? You've got it.
Oh, do you? Oh, you've got.
Oh, yeah, you've got the bottom. Yeah, let's
okay,
didn't
cool.
realize
Okay,
we
well,
were
let's
talking about.
Let's cover that
do
now,
that.
shall
Let's
we?
cover it now.
Yeah,
cover it
well,
now.
Cover it
there
now.
you go.
Yeah, go for
The
it.
only thing I find I don't like about it, especially being a dwarf player, is because you get charged all the time.
True. Yeah.
But
yeah.
it kind of just makes it. I don't know if you call it slow, but can feel very one-sided when somebody attacks you and you can't attack back. Like it's kind of like oh,
Yeah.
no, you can't attack back. I killed all you guys. You're just like,
Mm.
like in the front row.
No,
sort of thing,
I
like.
agree. I did the only we've had these chats on this podcast before. I like how 6th edition combat seemed to grind more, which means again it's this whole positioning thing. If you end up in the wrong spot, you might be stuck there for a while, which I like, but I don't. I still there's something. To me, it's just again the quickness and accounting of just going. I like being able to attack back. And maybe this goes back to my one, which is getting rid of hordes, is maybe we get rid of just the volume of attacks. Maybe it is just front rank, but and that's probably what they're potentially doing with Old World is the front rank and attack, you know what I mean? And
I hope.
it just, just makes it just easy. So because then again, you're right. It's just a bit fairer, that both sides get to fight. Because I mean, you are fighting. You never had a point where it's like, oh, I've wiped this whole thing out, and you guys can't attack me just yet until I attack you next.
Well, the
time.
only thing I'll say,
I
might as well do my next one because that's literally what you just said was
Yeah.
only front row can attack. I've had so many whiffs with only having 4 or 5 attacks. I find the chance to whiff is higher. Just with your attacks compared to having 2 rows.
But would you care about that if you could at least attack back?
Well, but obviously the more dice you roll, the less chance you're going to have it at having a complete whiff.
Yeah.
I guess you could still do 2 rows, but you can't if you get rid of horde. You don't have that 3rd row.
It is nice to be able to reward striking first to some extent. What did you guys think of the idea of having supporting attacks, but you can't strike back if you do die? So you find 2 ranks, but whoever dies doesn't strike.
But only. But does that mean you count? Like if I have an awesome lord and he wipes 10 models and it's a 5x2 unit, like a 5 ranked, 5 wide. Does that mean no one?
Yeah,
yeah.
That's what I say.
So it's basically 6th edition, but with just 2 ranks of fighting.
Yeah, with 2 ranks fighting. What do you think?
But to me the maths gets too hard. Then and now I'm counting big numbers. For someone who did well at maths, I just still can't do it. It's not that hard. It's just I don't know. I like the idea of just quick. I mean, I guess you are still counting. Even in 8th, you are counting how many you've killed because at some point you might not have any.
Initiative's still a huge thing, but it's still a huge thing in 9th age and 8th. Not as big a thing, I think, is like charging. Well, sorry. So charging is obviously it goes off initiative basically. Which will be the same as saying charging in 6th. So it's still a huge deal. Depends on which way you did it. But I find you should get rewarded, but you can always get rewarded by having, if you charge, you get +1, combat to your combat res sort of thing. I feel like there's other ways you could do it, just like rewarding a charge, without basically penalizing the other person too much.
Right. You mean like adding combat res for charging
like
or
+1.
that type of thing?
I mean, you could always do like a +1 plus, an extra one for a bonus for whatever reason. But having a static army, I just found that really, really hard with dwarves.
And I guess sort of related to this is, what about the concept of always being an attack rank and file, which seemed to be added a lot post 8th in 9th age and WAP because of because of this idea of I've run in, I've hit the character, but I can't fight anyone. You know?
I think it's absolutely crucial. Yeah, it's ridiculous having characters at the front and they can't strike the unit. It's just it doesn't feel right in the game.
Yeah. Nah, cool. Okay. I already said, I said mine getting rid of. I mean, again, horde / how much supporting attacks. Like that's the thing. I guess my thing with it was just keeping the unit sizes a little bit closer to 6 than 8. I mean, I love 8th and I love the big hordes and stuff. I just know that it's going to be detrimental to the hobby though when you're expecting people to have 50 in a unit and shit. It just
awful.
You know what I would almost rather see, and I don't know, this is totally down the track, is if Old World was good, you could almost have, you know how like 40K had that one what was all big tanks and shit. What was it called? I don't know. Like it was a different version of the game where you had like bigger armies and stuff. Can't remember what it was called, but it's probably not even right. It's whatever it was called. I think it was just all big monsters fighting each other and tanks and no, that's not ringing a bell.
It's not
in 40K.
Was it Apocalypse?
Oh yeah, what's that? Yeah, Apocalypse. Yeah, what was that thing? Wasn't that just like a different version of it almost? And it was all just tanks and big things shooting each other.
I remember Apocalypse, being a larger scale of some sort, but
yeah. So I was just wondering, I wonder if down the track you could always have a different version, like a higher thing game with extra rules which are more sort of bigger, you know, so like the units are bigger and stuff, but most people wouldn't play that. Yeah, like a grand armies and, you know, and if you were up, say if you did play above 6,000 points, you could get the horde rule, you know, that type of thing, you know, so because you probably do want big units in those big things, but it's not aimed at beginners or even a normal tournament, you know. That's so that's I don't know if it's something I want or something I want gone, but just closer to 6 and that type of size and combat effectiveness. Have I got one? I mean, I've got more than you guys here by the look of it.
Ones.
But,
I've got one. If you,
cool. Go for it.
I was thinking I've got 2 more actually, just random ones that I've been thinking about. But about parry. The hand weapon shield rules.
The 6 up. So.
Because it depends which version you're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because in 8th edition, it was just a friggin' 6-up ward save.
T-shirt save.
Which is ridiculous.
I think I like 6 where you get the it's +1 save in combat. But only in combat. Yeah.
I think 7th, they changed it to only fighting to the front. Is that right? They changed it in 7th to so that if you get flank charge, you don't get that bonus, I think.
That's fair.
Right.
Which I think is a fair change. But I'd be sad if they made it the 6-up parry save.
I think with that, like it's sort of touching on your comment, Josh, around, you know, like fiddling around with some of these stats on, you know, like initiative on lances and stuff. It's the same thing. Like they got to fix like the effectiveness of spears, for example, versus halberds versus, you know, like, or get rid of them out of the game. Do you know what I mean? Like have like less I don't know, you know what I mean? Like don't just have, because people just don't, you get in this point where you just can't use that particular thing. And so
everyone just goes to great weapons because they're extra 2 strength every turn, you know.
You
know, I think what I was reading Army Project have, you know, the great weapon goes down to 1 strength after the first turn. Which is interesting.
We'll tire you out.
And I'll go to my other one as well because that's pretty quick. Skirmishes with 360-degree line of sight.
We'll get rid of it. Is that what you want?
Yeah, I think I would. In 8th, it was just the regular 90 degrees at the front. In 6th, they just seem a bit too easy to use almost. Like, you know, they're almost like a unit that you can just use to cover your mistakes in maneuvering because, you know, they can just charge in any direction.
Yeah. And obviously, I mean, I did that with one of mine to Andrew the other day, but they're only those little huntsman dudes. Like, are they skirmishes that are particularly deadly at it? Because I know I got hit with the Furies, for example, in my other game. That was bad because they've like at least because they're flyers. They were just so quick, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. There's 2 examples I can think of that I've been directly involved in. One being Peg Knights.
Yes.
Crazily enough, they are skirmishes.
I'm not sure they're going to stay that way, but they might.
No, they won't.
Just by looking at those bases.
And the other prime example would be the Wood Elf units, the Dryads and the War Dancers.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
they're just incredible. They can just go any direction.
Yeah. Hey, I don't mind the idea of some things being like that, but maybe skirmishing units are just not. Yeah,
but it does. Yeah, it just means you can be a bit lazy about positioning. because you can just like stick them wherever they're
totally.
they'll just go in any direction, you know.
Yeah. I had so I just had in general like bad terrain rules get rid of. Like I actually want buildings back. I just don't know how to fully fix them. I like the idea of garrisoning and I just like I liked some of that stuff. It was fun.
Always hated building rules.
Did you? Yeah. Well, so I don't think they've ever been able to get them good, but I just didn't mind some of that options of, you know, putting archers in there or like someone's got to come and get them then. And I don't know. Maybe they can do something.
It is nice. Yeah. I mean, I get what you mean. The concept is kind of cool that you can, man the building and that type of thing. But it's just because the rules, it's always a little bit complex. Yeah. And you got to sit down and read them and work out what's going on. And it's often a situation that's so rarely encountered.
Yeah.
It's sort of a headache.
Yeah.
I think
and obviously.
Yeah. Go for it.
No, you're right. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, I was reading in the 9th rules that it was, I'm not sure if this is still the case, but early on, it was considered open ground for infantry and a few other units, but you couldn't finish a movement inside it. So it was like impassable terrain, but it was
not as
passable for infantry.
Okay, yeah, that'd be cool.
Which is sort of cool. Yeah.
I think that's so like in this section I wrote, like no quarter like when I say quarter movement here, I'm talking about like the fact that you can't, like it's forests really and stuff like that in 6 is just crap where like technically you can't march and you have to go half movement. You're effectively quarter of your march move. It's just, you might as well just, to me, it's make it impassable or don't. And you're right. Yeah. Maybe it's like you're just saying, let's make it impassable to some things and not others. And then you get that variability around, like I think you want to see, I don't know, like what have I written there for? 5 types of different things on the board, which just make it a bit interesting. Which would be good.
And maybe instead of movement penalties, you have like damage penalties or something. You have to weigh up, do I risk going through this forest with my cavalry because I'm going to have to roll a certain number of dangerous terrain checks?
I didn't mind some of that terrain.
Rather than being lodged in a forest for 3 turns.
Cool. Yeah, so something like that I think would be cool. Keeping the terrain in there in some fashion. I've got a bunch of
one more thing
to
talk about while we're terrain is obstacles as well, because I was reading that's actually quite different in 6th and 8th. You know, in 6th edition, if you charge something as an obstacle, you're on 6s to hit,
right? Not just -1.
Pretty brutal.
Whereas
in 8th it goes down to just -1.
I think that's fair.
Maybe a little bit more stomachable, because I forgot how bad it was in 6. I don't think I've charged.
I think the thing is people just don't use them. This is the thing.
No, they don't.
Because technically you've got to do this whole dumb thing around you can't, like, your chariots can't move over them, or what is it? The steam tank destroys them. Like it just gets a little bit. I think the terrain's got to just like get out of your way in a way, but just like you're saying, just have these effects. And if you want to have the effect, you can have it, but don't stop you. Moving stuff sometimes, but either that or block line. Like I like this infinite block line of sight. Just make it easy. You know what I mean? Like, I know Games Workshop generally like this sort of true line of sight stuff, but it just doesn't. It doesn't work in tournament stuff. It's a lot easier. Get your laser out and go. Yep, you can't see that. I can agree. Yep, bang bang.
You can have like any part of your model. Basically, you can like see the enemy. Like you could have like your fingertip, and then you got line of sight. That's like,
the tip of a spear or a tail tip. Yeesh.
But it would be nice to see people set stuff up that had some more things. Like even the game we had, it sucked, but like with the amount of train I put on the board in the way it was. But it'd be cool to be able to play in game boards that had some things on there that didn't help, didn't hinder you too much in some sense, but then in other things it did. So, I don't know. I'm not really answering my questions there, but cool. So can I bring up this other runner-up that I posted on somewhere? Facebook. Did you guys read that? What I put on Facebook?
Not on Facebook. I read it on here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I posted this on Facebook just asking, because I hadn't actually played 10th Ed 40K, but I got the rules and I looked at it, and from a mathematical point of view, I was almost coming up with trying to work out, is this true or not? But basically, we're in a game with just D6s. So obviously there's not a lot of variability, like you find that in weapon skill versus weapon skill, like everything's 3s, 4s or 5s generally, and then occasionally 6s. So there's not a lot of variability. And then you got, going back to your point around initiatives and stuff, Warhammer doesn't really make use of a lot of things above 5, if you really think about it. Like everything's squished into this little 2, 3, 4, 5 thing. And I feel like I don't know if they will do this on Old World, but I feel like they've done this in 10th Ed to try solve it by going, we're going to branch out. So now people can have strengths, toughnesses, and wounds and stuff above 10. And the fact that they have multi-damage and number of tax differences is what sort of balances it. And so it's almost like you're breaking apart. Everything's currently squished into this small number of, like this small surface area of, or this bubble of strength, toughness is under 10 and all that crap. And what 10th, I think, tried to do is pull that apart. So then the tanks and stuff are above that, and they can get hit by like these weapons that have high strength and high damage, but not many attacks. But if you shot that weapon at an infantry, it wouldn't do a whole lot because it's only got like 2 attacks. So like it's only going to kill 2 things. So you would never do that. And then the infantry are sitting in this lower area where they're somewhat safe from these, cannons effectively, but not so much against some other attacks, which are going to like blast them because they do, like 20, 20 single hits, whatever. And I feel like Games Workshop have played around with that now. And I wonder if something like that could help create monsters and characters that are survivable to some of the big things, but also depending on that character, might be more useful at killing infantry or might be useful for killing other monsters. But because of that, depending on their weapons and how their profile's set up, allows them to do that. Because I think there's a possibility there, because you're playing with so many variables around strength, toughness, wounds, and the damage, strength, toughness, wounds, attacks, and the number of damage per attack, so it's not something I said I really wanted, but having seen what they tried to do, the feedback was 10th Ed haven't done it very good, so it's probably not great. But I'm just wondering if,
seems all right, Sigma.
If there's something, I guess, okay, so because they've probably done that as well, and I just think because it just feels like we've never been able to balance this idea of having monsters running around that don't just either get one-shotted off by cannons or they just destroy the whole game and no one can stand up to them because they're just too big.
Well, that's the problem. I think, well, that's kind of the meta, I suppose, with Age of Sigmar. But look, it's not just monsters, but there are some monsters that are just like definitely OP. Like you got people running around with like multiple bloodthirsters sort of thing, But
like going back to like just let's talk Warhammer Fantasy. Like a stone thrower. I don't like even trebuchet and stuff. What are you firing that at in historical terms? And I know we're a fantasy game, so that doesn't matter. But are you really shooting a stone thrower to try and
like
topple off like a drag?
Try to hit the dragon.
You might try hit the dragon, I guess, but are you going to try? Like these things were usually shot into either walls and stuff, or they were shot into like massive amounts of troops, weren't they? And just flatten everyone. So like to me, it feels like, well, if you did something like this, then these stone throwers or things like that would have lots of attacks and damage for. That's what they would do, but low strength. Like they wouldn't, and they'd only ever do one wound.
Well, like a mortar.
Yeah, like a mortar type thing. They end up being like a mortar-y type attack. Whereas a cannon or something that might be more, I don't know, we don't really have them, but like a laser type thing would be 1 or 2 attacks, but really high strength. So it can really take out a dragon, but it can't, it's also not, you're not going to shoot it into units, you know what I mean? Just because it's high strength. I don't know. I just feel like there's something there.
I don't know. It's hard because the other thing is like, it's not like all factions are going to have like an equivalent war machine to deal with this particular threat or that type of thing as well. So it's
totally
it's hard to balance it properly.
Yeah, but I do feel like we've lost like this idea that just everything's capped at 10, and then they don't even use a lot of it. Like initiative's a good example because I couldn't even tell you. I can tell you what all main things are, like initiative 3s and 4s and 5s, like elves and stuff, but. Like which monsters are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Like there's a lot of different numbers there, which again, going back to our point around attacks and stuff in combat, if initiative was more of an important thing, then use the whole 10, or whatever.
I don't know. I think it's cool when you have something like Initiative 7. Like it seems really special. Vampire count with like super high initiative. Whoa!
Well, he still can, but I mean, he can have like Initiative 14 now, and he's still way better. But you have that variability between like not all humans are Initiative 3. Some are a little bit better.
Yeah, so
like you're
pushing the numbers up. You could go to like 100 or something, and you could have 30 being the average, and then you could have like some guys at 20 and 28 or something like that.
Yeah, and you probably wouldn't go to you wouldn't go out of 100 like that, but you would go.
But for an example,
yes. So you're getting that range of just initiative, and then obviously with strength and attacks, you're getting a strength and toughness. You're getting that variability. Whereas monsters going against monsters, there's certain monsters that are going to be better because they've got strength 16 versus whatever. But at the end of the day, if they're banging into a unit, they're still wounding on 2s. Who cares? Because they're so high. So
does that mean you've got like this massive table to wound, which just goes up to like 20?
No, because it's again, that's interesting about that. They said it's actually it's an easy calculation. It's pretty much the same as what we've probably always seen, I think, where it's usually like if you beat them, it's 3 up, but if it's more than double, it's 2, or that type of thing. It's just a mathematical thing. They said it's just written really bad in 10th edition. You can't. It's like 3 paragraphs to explain it.
Oh, okay.
Whereas they said like the good thing about Warhammer is it's a table and you just look it up. But So anyway, we'll see. It'd be interesting if they can play around with some of that or not. Anything else? I mean, I like the WAP rules around like stopping conga lining,
like
those little things.
I find conga lining awful.
Yeah. And I guess the other 2 things I had here, which unless you guys had other things, were like objectives. Could they work? Like the fact that Age of Sigmar and 40k are very much like this, where you're not ever really playing battle line type thing. I don't know what Horus Heresy do, but those games are very much more movement. Like when I say movement, they're fast move. That's it, maneuverable. Whereas fantasy isn't. So are we just not? Is the game more about the movement and not about the maneuverability? And
I still reckon you can get like some
that variability
of objectives in there and base it around that.
You totally can. Yeah.
So, like, one of them.
Because have you seen like 40k's tactical deck and stuff, like how they do the fix versus whatever it is missions, fix versus tactical? Yeah, okay. So I haven't played it, so I'm not going to get it right. But when you start the game, you can choose to go fixed, which is like you draw a card and that's your objective, and each. You draw one, I draw one, you get different ones, right? And that's what you got to do for the game.
Okay, a bit like Marvel.
Or you go this tactical one, and every turn you have 2 tactical objectives, and I might be wrong there with the numbers, but you've got these tactical cards. Sorry, I've got a cough. And then every turn you can either exchange them for other ones, or you can complete them and obviously exchange them. And they're little things that you can do throughout the game. And obviously then that's how they win and lose. You don't ever care about victory points. Then they have this other thing, whereas if you can, what's it called? Basically, it's like you're getting your ass kicked and you can draw another deck, Gambit it's called, sorry. That's basically like an objective that's really hard to get, but if you get it, you get so many points that you could probably win the games and swing it around. So it's used in the event that you're basically getting the shit kicked out of you, and you're like, oh god, I'm going to go for the Gambit and see if I can do it. And so it sounds really fun and cool. The problem is I just don't. Fantasy isn't a very fast maneuverable game. It's very cagey and slow, and so I'm not sure how it would work. But I do think it'd be cool to get away from just battle lining the whole time.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think there is scope there to get more of that kind of thing in there. You have to be a bit careful there, how overdo it. We've had, even just like with packs and tournaments, that type of thing, you just, there is definitely areas where you can add in extra little bits and pieces, and
Because, like, your challenge thing, Josh, that you did with the CanCon. I mean, imagine if that was a card that I'd pulled out. Like, and they're secret, by the way. So, like, suddenly I'm doing it. I'm going, I'm getting behind here. But if I draw the challenge card and I go for it and I get him, then I get this 10 points. Yeah, and it's like, so I'm going to do it. You don't know I've got that tactical one, and then when I've done it, I pull it out and go, I've completed that thing. I've actually,
I think that kind of thing would be totally plausible. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And like, I know there's some armies that are better at gun lining and it might be a bit more static, but they did get more units that were more sort of maneuverable after 6th edition. And I think that sort of helps that they can compete in that, if in more sort of dynamic sort of objective situations as well.
Yeah,
agreed.
Yeah, cool. And obviously with 40Ks, they've done it so you could throw away ones you don't want and just keep trading them in, and because obviously some units probably, like you're saying, some armies can't deal with them all. Cool. And then I guess the other thing that I've seen a lot, and I think Horus Heresy have this too, is just that whole detachment-y army construction formation-y type thing, which I guess is sort of similar a little bit to like the back of the book lists in a way, when you think about it. It's like, if you choose to use this list, then this is how you can construct your army.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
I think that would be cool. Yeah. Obviously, you have to sort of do it with 40K and stuff. It's like you choose, I can't remember what it's called, if it's called detachment or whatever, but you choose it, and then that gives you a different set of abilities and also a different set of effectively magic items that you could use if you pick that one, So I think that'd be cool. It's just a lot to balance, but
Yeah, but that's so much flavour in that. That'd be great.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see if they go down that road. I mean, all their other army games have it, so at some point you think maybe they will, hopefully.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, that's it.
As you say, they just need to balance it properly, because otherwise you just get the same one picked every time.
Yeah, because it's totally OP'd. Yeah,
and it might take them I mean,
additions, hopefully. Yeah. That's true. Let's not. We don't need everything probably in January. Yeah.
I'm not sure how much playtesting would have been occurring for this initial release. Let's see how we go.
Yeah. Cool. Well, hey, man, we've been going on a long time, so maybe we smash out these quick 3 questions, because 2 of them are pretty similar, and then I'll let you guys go, because that was a long one, but that was good. It's fun chatting about what we wish for. Okay, so we got 3 listener questions in. Sean Ritchie said, if the announced factions get their full range from 8th back, what is the first thing you'll be buying? For me, it's 20 white lions. Follow on question, what new army will you be starting? So, and sorry, I'll just, before we answer that, we also did get Shattershell on Instagram said, I would love to hear what each of you would do if you were starting a new army project for the old world. What faction theme would you go for? What units? Would you stay to the core ones, or would you ever be doing just the PDF ones? So they're very similar ones. So I guess round table quickly. I mean, Josh almost answered it a little bit. Oh, no, he didn't. He was just saying he might build his 6th edition one. What were you saying about your 6th edition one if Old World comes out?
Which one?
Oh, no. You're saying your 6th edition you're going to use for your slow grow, you're going to use for your T-Con tournament. Not for Old World. Yeah, that's right. Yep. Cool.
If there are rules for them, the cult of Slannesh in the old world, if that's like a battle tome style part of Dark Elf or something, I'd love to be able to adapt them into the old world for sure. And that's probably what I'd be doing, what I'd be using.
So going on the Shattershell's question, would you like, are you thinking of starting a new army just for old world, or are you just going to stay with these guys and turn them into Dark Elves?
Yeah, I'll probably just do that.
Okay, so you'd be happy to use just a PDF non-supported core faction then, providing it gets PDF, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if I was going to start a new army, that's what I'd be doing, I suppose. But to be honest, when I'm starting to play the old world, I'll probably use the Bretonians that are obviously going to be very well supported.
And you'll be buying those new ones as well. Yeah, cool.
Maybe, I'll buy some of the new ones for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Andrew?
Well, to answer Sean's question, I wouldn't mind getting a second, because they're priceless at the moment. The Lothan, the Sky Cutter.
Oh, Sky Cutters.
Sky Cutter.
Yeah.
Sky Cutter.
I thought about selling my kidney, but I'll just hang on to that for the moment, see what comes out. And yeah, PDF wise, as long as they're not absolute garbage, I definitely will be using them for Chaos Dwarves and probably Vamps at some stage. But if not, I do have my 2, Dwarves and High Elves, which will be supported, allegedly.
So there's no. So out of those core factions that are supported, we know are going to be like the main focus. Is there any there that you don't have that you guys would consider starting? And maybe not straight away. I'm not saying January, but like say next year in June's come along and you're like, I'm going to start a new army.
I like Wood Elves. I've always wanted to do Wood Elf. I had a Wood Elf army. I sold it because it's got too many bloody armies. Same with Orcs.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd probably say those 2.
Yeah, I consider doing some Orcs.
Oh, because you started. Yeah, you've started some Orc and Goblins, haven't you?
Yeah. I just got some Gobos, but I could also get some Orcs.
Oh,
if
yeah.
that's going to release them.
Yeah.
It's probably something I'd go into. Yeah.
Did you? Yeah, sorry, I missed that. I missed his first part of the question, Sean. From Sean, Josh, was there any like these 8th edition boxes coming back that you're sort of waiting for, or you're the man with the 3D printer? You don't care.
Nah. GW.
GW. I'll bleep that out just in case we get a sponsorship off them at some point.
What about you, Colin? What are your thoughts?
Well, see, that's tough because I would have said I need some great swords and swords, but they miraculously turned up on my doorstep the other week from Josh, so I don't need great swords anymore. What thing am I missing? And in Tomb King sense, I've got everything I want from Tomb. I mean, I will buy more Tomb Kings when they come back, like boxes of stuff, like a Sharpty. I'll say that a Sharpty because I tried to get the great weapon ones. They sent me the wrong ones. So if they bring them back, I will buy, and hopefully they're good. I'll buy a bunch of them for Tomb Kings. For Orcs, I don't know. What have I? You know what I don't have, which is really funny, really, is Orc Boys, which I don't even rate the 6th edition, whatever they are, Orc Boys. So I'd rather just find some good 3D ones, and print them. But and I'm pretty sure they probably won't release Orc Boys. Would you think in this? Like, but what I did buy is some of those, the Oryx, and just started to rank them up. They're skinnier and everything, but for common orcs, which is going to get killed anyway, I don't care. They sort of makes them look different to the black orcs. So, but yeah, that's probably a Sharpty for that. And then a new army. I was looking at that list and going, I mean, technically I've started Wood Elves, so I'll argue that, but I'm really not. Like, I'm not starting. To be honest, if I was going to start a brand new, never started army, only because it's what I've seen, I probably would go Brett's, I guess, which is maybe Chaos because I haven't got Chaos. So Chaos. I'll say Chaos, but I probably wouldn't start it until I saw what they're bringing out for them.
Yeah. I'd be tempted with Chaos as well. Yeah.
I just don't have it. So, yeah, I probably should do that because, I've got the others. Yeah, cool. Okay.
So I think part of the attraction for me for Chaos is actually the 6th edition dynamic where you can pick from any of the books.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I didn't have that, I actually find it less attractive. I just love that flexibility. It's sort of fun.
Yeah. Really flexible.
Now, I'm just trying to... Lincoln Wargamer said, would you be happy with Magic being 2d6 plus level to cast and dispel? So, because I think the question here, like he had originally talked about that we've lost the Magic phase, which is why I didn't add any of that. I love the Magic phase. I would have added that in that list we just said, but we know it's not there, so there's no use. I guess what we were talking about is it going to be a bit worrying that it's just going to be like throw 2d6, every spell's just 2d6 and there's a number. It sort of takes away a little bit of that funness. And I guess he's saying, would you be happy with that? Or do you want, I guess I'm saying I'm not. I would rather I don't know, I like the variability of the Winds of Magic stuff, but now that it's probably not there, I'm not sure how. I just have to put up with it. I think it's going to be something like that, and I just have to live with it.
I don't mind something quick.
I do mind, I like my Tomb Kings in 6, and they're quick, aren't they? Because they just auto fire. So maybe I'm right.
I think it's really going to be missing something about some of the subtleties of the game. by sucking out the magic phase.
I think it just depends on the
Yeah.
style of the game. Like if they're changing the format quite heavily to something aligned with what they're doing with 40k and Age of Sigma, it might suit that style of game. But it's.
I'll have to have a look at Horus Heresy too, because I'm assuming it's out of the same department. That's type thing that it's got rid of. It doesn't have Psycho phase. So
I think that was the first one to get rid of it. And then 10th edition 40k followed it.
I mean, I think that Magic to me is. I get more excited around the whole, like in 8th speak, like the hex and buff stuff. So I feel like that's easily thrown out with wherever there's no phase, but my mage can do a hex, whatever in his shooting phase, whatever it is. Then I feel like I haven't lost a lot, as long as he can still do that. So, and you know me, I've always talked about just speeding up the game a bit. And even though I love the magic phase, I love it. It's fucking the longest phase. Probably in a tournament, probably, especially when people get a bit nervous or they haven't played for a while. It just fucking takes. And I'm the worst at it. I'm like, and at the end of the day, you start arguing in your head about 2 different spells, and then you roll, you don't even get it off. You're like, oh, why did I just spend 10 minutes talking about something?
Or you'll be like me, and it's like I'm trying to work out what to dispel, and I get my opponent to tell me every single one of their spells, every single phase, because I completely forget what it's like. Turn 2.
Yeah.
It's like,
true.
What spells you got again? So, I just told you.
Yeah. I mean, it might end up turning out more interesting anyway. like, because I would imagine that there's elements there where it's about positioning of your wizard as well.
That's what they
in
said,
terms of dispelling, not just casting. So you cast range,
I like
also
that
to
idea.
Dispel.
Yeah,
so you've got to make sure your wizard's in a right position so that they're ready to counter whatever you think the guys want to cast. Which I think, there is a little tactical.
Imagine like high elf guys. You could have like a high elf mage. He's so powerful you can't even cast a spell within 12 inches of him or something like that. And he can like go like bubbles of like magic resistance and So no, it's interesting. I don't know, what would you buy the index style books, Good, Bad, and Legend?
I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah.
Good, Bad, and Legend.
If buy means buy old world stuff, yes, I'll just say yes.
Yeah, we'll definitely buy whatever books they throw at us, as long as it's not too much too quickly.
I'd agree.
Yeah,
cool.
But if they set it up like the Lord of the Rings, where they've got different narrative books, where you've got release a certain character in the book or that type of thing, and they set out like 5 or 6 different scenarios you can play, I think that would be amazing. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
I would love that.
Well, I think we've had a lot. That was good. I knew it would get, man. We said it might be quick. It's never quick. That was good. Hopefully people enjoyed listening to us ramble about that.
Almost 2.5 hours again.
So, hey, thanks so much for Sean and Lincoln Wargamer and Shadowshell. And I'll just, have you guys got anything else you want to
shout out to Cowie,
chat about?
He's out there. My mate from
is that your mate?
Days Yonder.
He's listening. Cool. No, well, I mean, just with the listener questions and all the other listeners, mate, we've had some awesome uptake again this week, even bigger than usual, which has been really cool. So hopefully seeing a little bit more excitement probably after that last announcement when people know that it's coming. So that's really cool.
Feels like it's ramping up to something big now, eh?
Oh, absolutely. And so if we can answer, we want you guys to come on along the journey with us. So definitely hopefully most of the time I get back to people when they send me messages on the socials. So do it, hit us up, get us questions. If you want to come on and chat to us, we probably even can arrange that at some point. So we're always interested in chatting to people about Warhammer. We're oldworldfanatics@gmail.com or oldworldfanatics on Instagram, Threads, Twitter, all that sort of stuff. Just hit us up and we'll appreciate the listens, appreciate the 5-star reviews, and guys, I don't know if you got anything else. Otherwise, I'll see you next week.
Oh, that's done.
Cheers.
Tapped out.
Thanks, guys. We'll chat later. Fuck it. I'm just going to patch that in. I don't know what it's doing every time I'm hitting this intro button. It's working in preview, which you can't hear, can you? You haven't heard the intro, have you?
Nah.
Nah. It works in this preview mode, and when I hit live, press play, it just spins.